Let's get started.
Now let's get it all in perspective. We did it like that, and now we do it like this.
Do not attempt to adjust your dial. I'm transmitting live. Yo,
Let's get down to business.
Now let's get it all in perspective. We did it like that, and now we do it like this.
All right.
for the underground world, every street and borough.
You may learn something.
You are now listening to the Joe Rogan Experience with Chico, Simon, Kamar, and your host, Matt Floyd.
Welcome back to the Joe Rogan Experience. My name is Matt Floyd, joined as always by Kamar.
What the fuck is up?
And Simon.
Hello.
What we do here is very simple. The three of us have listened to every episode of the Joe Rogan Experience this week. We're going to rate each episode as well as the week on a scale of 1 to 5 Jamie Vernons. And then we're going to talk about each guest, the talking points, this, that, and the next. Kamar, how was your week?
I had a great week there, man. Thanks for asking. I finished the Kyle Dunnigan podcast, and I just want to say I realize I did not give it the credit it's due. I still find him unremarkable, but it was good. Better than I thought.
Yeah, okay.
Now, at the end of it, they start talking about Karen.
Yeah.
And I firmly believe the etymology or origins of Karen is from Goodfellas.
Karen.
With Ray Liotta always screaming Karen and them having their problems. You think it's possible?
No. I'm not going to lie to you. It had, when they were talking about it, it had crossed my mind. But I don't know. That's a tough one.
I think my research into it was sound about the Dane Cook stuff.
Okay. Well,
that wasn't your research. That was theirs.
No, they didn't talk about Dane Cook. I went behind the scenes and tried to locate the what did you
etymology, origin,
the origin of Karen.
Okay,
they just talked about canceling Karen.
And Dane Cook did it in a joke.
Dane Cook did it on a joke where he was talking about every group has a Karen, and she's always an asshole who complains at the whatever, you know.
And it's possible he did get that from Goodfellas.
But you're just saying, you're contending that because Ray Liotta says the name Karen a bunch because the woman's name is Karen. Like, you see why I have a problem with that?
Yeah, but she was also kind of a bitch.
It was the whole cantankerous.
But she wasn't like a woman who went in and complained about shit in the hardware store.
No, but remember when Rossi, I want you to hear the name. Rossi in 4R is a hooer.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's possible.
Right, okay.
It's
sure.
possible.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
I'm with
now,
Kamar.
Now, so this is what I thought was cool, is Karen is played by
the psychiatrist.
The psychiatrist in Sopranos, which they were on.
Lorraine Bracco.
So the answer might have been right under their nose. I just thought that was interesting, and that was a highlight of my week.
Lorraine Bracco, who was also in Simon.
Basketball Diaries.
No, wasn't it a Bronx Tale? Wasn't that the one that we were?
She was.
Tell your father where you got the money.
But I feel like she was in Basketball
She
Diaries.
was in.
She was too.
I know
She's the mom. She just always plays a mom who's mean to her son.
She plays a Karen.
Would you become a
She's
brain?
a Karen. Kamar, you're right, man. I take it all
it's all
fucking
full
back.
circle.
That's where Karen comes from.
So I want to apologize. I didn't put that together last week, but that's what I was when you missed the podcast.
That's what I was going to say. It really helps when you listen to the podcast before.
Yeah.
Then you don't have to talk about it the next week.
For our purposes.
That's true. Tell your father where you got the money. Would you become a brain surgeon overnight? $600 you've been saving? Things. What do you mean things? What things?
That is definitely one of my favorite gangster movies.
Oh, the best.
It's not the best.
It's one of the best.
Goodfellas.
Oh, Goodfellas is definitely the best. All right.
Godfather. We did this last week.
Sure. Simon, how was your week? Did I ask you already?
Well, I hurt myself, which is why we
hold on.
Doing the...
Okay. Let's get that out of the way.
Get out of the way. Today would have been.
We had planned to do the field goal today. I was more than ready to prove my worth. Kamar obviously has said he's been ready since day one. And Simon hit us up on Friday and said he injured his hip at the dog park. Now, let me just say this. If you injured your hip at the dog park, I can almost guarantee you're not kicking a 30-yard field goal. But that remains to be seen, I guess. So we'll postpone it, unfortunately.
Yeah. I realize that all you conspiracy-minded people out there may be thinking that there's something amiss here, but I just want to assure everybody, nobody wanted to kick this field goal more than me. I push this harder than anybody.
Do we publicly talk about your guys' Fugazi rule for the field goal competition?
What
What's
is
the
that? You
Fugazi
can't wear
rule?
cleats?
That you can't wear any footwear you want to wear?
No, we all have to wear the same footwear.
Yeah.
I don't know why you want an advantage. Like, what do you need an advantage, Kamar?
It's not an advantage. It's just I think a running shoe is a disadvantage.
Yeah, but Kamar,
So
the
then
point
we'll
is,
all,
hold on.
then we'll
hold on.
all kick fucking barefoot if that's what you want.
I've been thinking about it. I think I might kick barefoot.
Well, that's a disadvantage for you.
I don't think so.
How do you think that a running shoe, like a sneaker, is that much worse than a cleat?
Because I think the successful kick will be by a perfect, like it's just a sweet spot on the ball you got to hit.
Did you watch Pat McAfee talk about it as well?
I mean,
I mean, I totally agree with you about the sweet spot, Kamar. I just feel like that's reachable with or without a cleat.
I'm just saying I've watched some guys kick the ball around, and I've never seen someone doing a running shoe.
Well, maybe we'll be the first. Like, I don't understand.
You're watching the same videos we're all
You're
watching.
Like, why do you
where
want an
they're out on
advantage?
the
I'm like,
football
why do we
field.
want an impediment?
You want me to have to go out and buy a pair of
You
cleats?
own a pair of cleats.
I do not.
Well, what do you used to play soccer in?
It's been fucking 7 years since I've played soccer, Kamar.
Golf cleats?
I'm not playing.
Dude,
I'm not kicking
if
a
you
field
go out and
goal in
kick a-
golf cleats.
Because there is an issue with the plant foot, right? You guys realize that. If you're going to try and plant, you could slide out.
Yeah, well, we're going to go on a dry day. First of all, we're doing it on AstroTurf.
So there's no issue.
And we're going to do it on a dry
Actually,
day.
I don't even know if you would be able to wear your cleats on this AstroTurf.
That's fair. Well, if we can break into this
I mean,
place.
No, Simon said he went the other day and it was gates open. So I don't think we're breaking into shit.
Oh, I wonder how he hurt his leg. He was there with the gates open.
All right.
If you
Yeah,
ask
just,
Matt, that's where one goes to walk their dogs, Kamar.
So you injured yourself this week,
Which you would know if you had dogs.
and you let all the listeners down.
We'll kick the field goal at some point, man. That's all.
Well, sooner than later. I mean,
sorry,
listen,
everyone.
we said we were going to do this thing at the crack of spring, and now it's summer, and
Well, that's
you're going to need a month at least.
The only thing I think we're going to need to do now that's going to be different is we'll probably have to allow like 5 kicks prior so that I can see if I can even do it.
Is it a
You know
hammy?
what I mean, it's this.
Yeah, that could be all summer. So we got to do this challenge. I was thinking next challenge. Would you guys do top carding?
Top carding is great.
Because I don't think there's very much advantage there or disadvantage.
My only problem with that, Kamar, in all fairness, is it's really hard on my shoulder.
Oh my God.
No, I'm telling you, because you have to hold going around those fucking turns.
Before we get
It's-
into anything, let's get our excuses out there.
Can I just say that for a guy who's like sitting here like, I'm going to win all the feats of strength, he sure has a lot of
Fucking Bubba Wallace over
Okay,
here.
whoa. Top carding is no feat of strength.
Okay, I'm putting that on the table. We still have to kick a field
It's
goal.
no feat of strength, but yet it's too much strain on your arm.
How about this? Why don't we do like a game of 21 or some sort
Basketball?
of shooting basketball thing where we're not
You have a bad
stuffing each
shoulder.
other? Yeah, but I can definitely shoot.
Just 21.
Well, what do you want to do? Like one?
I'll
on
do.
one?
No, I was just
can't.
asking.
I mean, I could.
You can play
probably.
American, but you
I
probably
still,
can't play that.
even with my shoulder, I still feel like I could beat you.
Because Americans where 3 guys can play each other, right?
Either way, if you want to play a game of 21, Simon, done.
No,
Horseshoes.
I'm just horseshoes. Great, perfect. Ping pong.
There's
you
lots
want to
of
do some
activities.
ping pong? Come
Not
on.
really. That's not a
Any racket sport, I'm
easy
in.
way to. Yeah, that's a long way to find out a winner.
What?
Ping pong. What do you got? Play to 21.
Yeah, it'll take me 3.5 minutes.
But we have to play a round robin, and the one thing is the easiest.
All right, man.
How's your week, man?
What? Sorry, I'm sorry. Come on, we're doing 10 kicks. It's gonna take for fucking ever.
Yeah,
No, if I buy 2 balls and we have someone standing behind, it won't take that long.
I don't think that's. Yeah, well, that's the issue. Retrieving the ball,
It certainly won't take any. It'll take the same amount of time as a game of ping pong.
but I don't know if I'll be a walk-off guy. Just hit it one time and be like, drop the mic. With it, let's go to 40. Let's go to 50. Personal records.
Wow, is that what we're doing? We just keep going back.
Well, I
and
think
back?
if you hit it on the first try, you owe it to yourself, or do nothing.
Hold
Just
on.
pass.
Okay. I think everyone needs to back the fuck up and realize none of us are athletes. You actually think that one of us has a chance of hitting it first, like walk off?
With cleats, I'm really confident I could, but
Okay, well, I'll tell you what. Bring a pair of fucking cleats
I'm
that
bringing
day.
an array of footwear.
Kamar
right,
does it in bowling shoes.
Bowling shoes, cleats, Jordans,
Let's get to
Jordan
this.
1s, Jordans.
Yeah, bring those fucking Jordans. That'll be perfect.
We didn't know how Matt's week was.
Oh, Matt's. Who cares? Let's move on.
Right on, perfect.
No, you don't have to give up your week this week, man. Tell us all about it.
There's something to tell. It doesn't matter.
All right.
Let's keep on ticking.
Well
Do you
then.
want to go over the guest, Kamar?
Oh, yes, I do. Thank you for asking. This is a different week from last week. Quite a short week.
This is a different week from last week, as the next week will
Start
be
off
different
with
as well.
Bang Bang 1496, Colion Noir. Yeah, the discussion with that name before. Talking about guns. 1497, let's face it, this should have been an MMA, but it started off interesting with Joe Schilling. And then it finished with a really, you didn't know you wanted to see it, but when it came up was good. 1498, Jon Stewart.
He was one that we said we wanted to see like months ago. Remember when we had one of those post shows where we kind of went off on guests we'd like to see? I think Jon Stewart was up there
And we tied him in with Chappelle somehow.
because they were touring together.
Oh, in the text thread?
No. On air, we had said during a post show. We had said it would be great if Jon Stewart was on. That would be a great episode. And then Simon and I said it would be incredible if him and Chappelle went on together because they were touring and it would have made sense. But
The tie-in, and why not do a twofer?
yeah,
Yeah. One thing I'll say before we get into it is I've never wanted ancient civilizations, some lore, anything. Just it feels like he's balancing the world issues now. From one episode to the next, like it. You know what I mean?
no.
Just say it, Kamar. We need some aliens. We need some Bigfoot.
We could use something, just something. I was thinking the other day, I could use a hunter right now.
Oh,
No.
fuck. Now we're going to get a hunter.
No, even worse, some prick that went to like the Antarctic and did something totally useless.
I swear to you, if he has David Goggins on, I am fucking done.
Well, no, Peter Schiff's coming on to fucking
All right.
We
shit
saw
all
some
over
research there, eh? July 12th,
And a
apparently.
breathing expert. Don't forget that.
everything. That'll be a nightmare.
Because
3
Joe's
hours.
into
It just turns out to be Wim Hof
in disguise.
with an accent.
I don't think Wim Hof could find any disguise that would help him.
No, I felt last week he was sort of pro police and like let's get a grip on the thing, and now I think he's sort of this week was almost the other side.
I find that episode to episode, depending on who the guest is, not week to week. Like it really varies depending on who is giving their opinion, is which way Joe's flopping these days.
But just somehow the pandemic, all this stuff, it's pressuring the podcast. I feel. Mm-hmm. Whereas in more organized times,
I mean,
it could have been anything.
Is it though? Because it's not like he's gone and found somebody who could speak for the movement. You know what I mean?
I
like
mean,
Colion-
Jon Stewart is sort of that guy.
Colion Noir certainly isn't that guy, right? He's the antithesis almost.
I felt that, and I felt Joe Schilling was the other side because we were talking about police, the importance of police, and then all of a sudden we're talking about police brutality again. So I felt like it was a bit of a balance.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, the Joe Schilling episode still had like a we need police, don't defund the police. Like he might have.
Well, Joe had to take that stance because Joe Schilling was so hard the other way, and if he hadn't, I feel like
Hold on, we got to rate the. First of
would've
all,
been nuts.
why are we have we
Starting on
started?
the second one.
no, because
Oh.
that's the second episode. Fuck.
We
yeah,
just
but
started
let's-
talking about the week in
We got to
general.
rate the week. So we'll start with Simon. Simon, you rate the week. How are we 15 minutes in and we haven't rated the week? This is unreal.
I rate this week a 3.
A 3, okay. Kamar?
I could not have said it better myself. I give it a 3.
Maybe a 3.5. I don't know.
Who was the second one again?
Joe Schilling. There's only 3 podcasts.
Yeah,
this
there's
week.
only 3. Yeah.
All day yesterday, I was like, it's coming.
Secret drop.
A Saturday drop, yeah.
Yeah, 3 sounds good to me. We have an agreement. I don't have a button for that yet, Simon.
It's going to make for a bad show.
Sorry, Maddie.
You are the problem.
It's as close as I could get.
Thank you, Patreon. Couldn't have done that without you.
That doesn't work.
That's not the one, is it?
Should have had fucking.
Eddie Bravo. NASA has photos of it.
That's all right. I was thinking.
Alex Jones.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, people don't like the word retard.
Yeah, I got it. I'm doing my best, Maddie.
Okay, let's get into it. Let's start with Colion Noir. Noir.
Yeah.
I know how to speak
We're
French.
going to
so
do this right. We're not just because he pronounces his name wrong doesn't mean we have to.
Just saying.
His own name wrong.
I mean, yes and no. Like, think about it. If you, let's say you're a parent and you name your kid Noir, but you spell it Noir.
It is not his last name.
I'm getting it.
Oh.
I'm just saying, but he made it up. So if he made it up to be Nor,
Oh, I see.
but spelt it, you know what I mean?
But then you fall into Nori. You can never make everyone happy.
Nori would be Nori.
Except Noriega.
N-O-R-E. Yeah, N-O-R-e. Nori stands for...
Can't.
Have to edit that
we're
out.
done.
Have to edit that out.
We
yeah.
are
See you
done.
later,
Will you still edit it for us?
Ruth.
Yeah, like you still edited it for us.
Ad Astra.
Yeah. Well, guys, it was a good run for me. I almost made it to 90 episodes.
That is one of the biggest hack jokes, though, I always see guys doing.
What?
Well, I listened to rap music, and I was with my friend, and he was black, and I don't know if I can sing along to some of the songs because of lyrics. So I say my name, or I say Tuesday, or, you know what I mean? And then they do a bunch of rap lyrics, change the word out. It's just so hacked, that's all.
Listen, I used to host, as we know, hip hop karaoke, and it was gross because one of the written rules was don't say the N-word. And it was written this way. Don't say the N-word, especially if you're white. And I was like, I'm not saying this.
Yeah.
And the dude was like, what do you mean you're not saying this? And I was like, well, I don't know. This statement kind of grosses me
Well,
out.
just
Like,
say don't say the N.
I was like, I'm fine with saying don't say the N-word. That part I'm cool with. But I was like, to single someone out, it just seems like we're going backwards here.
Well, what would happen?
What do you mean?
They go to jail, Kamar.
No. People would go up and rap along to their favorite song, and they just censor themselves.
Listen, I don't know if you remember this, but I think it was a year or two ago. Kendrick Lamar pulled some white girl on stage
Yeah, no, I remember that.
from the crowd and had her sing along to Swimming Pools, which has, and the verse that he wanted her to sing along with had like a ton of N-bombs in
She
it.
went after them.
And yeah, she was like full Dr. Dre rule.
Just went hard in the paint.
Well, the Dr. Dre rule, if you remember, is if you write it, white people have the right to say it because, you know, it's like
Like writing a book.
that was Dr. Dre's rule was if you don't want white people saying it, then don't put it in a rap song because they're the one buying it.
Well, here's an interesting example. You guys don't watch TikTok, do you?
No. Fuck no.
But you do.
I try not
You
to.
know how they sing along to those songs?
They lip sync, though.
As they're doing their dance, they lip sync. One of the ones right now has the N-word in it.
Tekashi?
So literally, I don't know, is it?
Anyways.
I don't know who it is. But what I'm saying is everybody's lip syncing it. You know what I mean?
Lip syncing, but not saying it out loud like Matt just did.
No, again, but I'm surprised that it hasn't been pushed aside by this point on TikTok.
Well, you
just
got to
'cause of the
realize TikTok's
sensitivity.
China.
Right, and they hate black people.
I believe so.
Yeah.
Cannot confirm that, but that's not their issue there. They'd be more interested if you're on TikTok saying something bad about them.
Gotcha.
Well, I know this is a super unpopular fucking statement, seeing as I am white, but I think black
I'm
people...
getting canceled anyways.
Yeah,
so.
since I'm canceled after this episode anyway, who gives a shit? I don't know how black people have kept that word. Like, it's insane to me.
That was my last question. This hip hop karaoke, white people are banned from doing something. Sounds a little suspicious, but black people can do it.
Of course.
Okay. And they would, and back and forth.
Yeah.
Cool. That's cool. I'm glad,
I mean, Kamar, listen, I
Never
sat
got to
there.
go.
I sat there and said it too. I was like, "This is the most ridiculous shit ever." Like,
The way he said that, yeah, that's cool.
okay, yeah, cool, whatever. Yeah, sure, okay, sure, that's okay. How do you feel about it? Okay. No, Kamar, I
the way you play.
thought it was gross.
My response to that is listen to the Sam Harris podcast.
Well, no, imagine if I had gone out, Kamar, and said to the crowd, blanket statement, guys, don't be violent, especially if you're black. That's like that statement
the same
is
family.
absolutely not fucking kosher at all.
This is pretty.
We would be like, what the
this is
fuck?
pretty much the same. I mean, not exactly, but pretty much the same idea of what what's his name was fighting against at Evergreen College. Was
Yeah.
it Evergreen College?
Yes.
Yeah, I feel it's
Can't
in
believe I
that
got
area.
that right. But it's the same. Look, this is a microcosm, or one's a microcosm of the other, but like principle stands.
Well, again, saying like we don't want white staff or faculty to show up today, like, yeah, guys, we used to do this too. That's kind of how this problem started.
Exactly.
So I don't think you're doing anyone any favors.
What's hilarious is we got on this because we weren't sure if his name was Noir
Yeah.
or Nori.
Well, we'll
or
stick
what
with Noir.
was.
Oh yeah, and then you went to the Nori, and then I fucking
Yeah.
canceled myself. Thanks, Kamar.
So let's get back on track.
It almost feels like he led you right into that, Maddie. Now that I'm looking back,
Hey, honeypotted me, yeah.
Entrapment,
he honeypotted
He totally
me.
did. Kamar wants me out of here. I get it.
I'm gonna help you. Let's move right
Giving
on.
candy to a baby.
Do you guys remember that Steve Seagal cop show? Because I have zero recollection.
When he was in
remember it.
Louisiana?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't watching avidly. I remember it existed.
Okay. I'm feeling like it's a Berenstein Bears thing.
There was a time when Steven Seagal was considered badass, though. Legitimately. Like, he's a punchline
His
now.
first couple of movies.
His first couple movies, you didn't know about this Aikido stuff. He seemed pretty badass. And he's a big guy.
Yeah, I remember my dad had all his fucking like laser disc movies where he'd hyperextend elbows all the time.
I don't know if it was Rob Schneider or Patton Oswalt, but I heard him in an interview once talk about Steven Seagal. Said he came up to me on set. I forget what they were working on. He goes, "I just read the most amazing book," and whoever it was like, "Oh yeah, who wrote it?" He goes, "I did."
That's great.
That's Steven Seagal in a nutshell.
So, should we talk a little bit about guns?
I found this hard to listen to as a Canadian, and guns are just so far away and difficult. Like, it's not like, I mean, they brought us up, I think, Canada, but it's like, this is a right that we had that we got taken away. It's just different.
I mean, my opinions on guns have changed a lot over the years, but regardless of what I think, just as far as this guy goes, he seems so level-headed, right? Like, really, his arguments seem pretty sound.
Yeah.
But then he'll say something like, yeah, I don't believe in a cool down period.
And a 3-day wait
a
period.
3-day wait
gun,
period. And Joe will say, well, I mean, let's just say the situation is you got a guy, he just caught his wife, whatever, who knows what it is. And the 3-day wait period makes him 2 days is enough to make him think.
Sleep it off.
Whatever. And this guy says, well, you know, what if somebody needs to get that gun immediately for their protection? And I'm like, okay, look, if you need a gun immediately for your protection, like immediate, just go to the police station and hang out there until, or head out to the mountains or whatever the fuck. Like, I just feel like the amount of times that you're going to need that gun right away, as opposed to that wait period being super good at 3 days, which seems so reasonable. You know what I mean? No?
What you're saying, this guy sounds level-headed and reasonable until he says, no, 3 days is just out of control.
Well, yeah, just every once in a while he would like, I don't know, maybe
Well,
I'm being
that
unreasonable.
one example, he's biased because he knows how he is about guns. So like, I should be able to
Well,
walk
but
up by
he
gun.
didn't. I doubt there was a situation where he needed a gun that would sooner than 3 days.
I find all pro-gun people are definitely like discount the crazy people out there and think, 98% of anyone getting involved with firearms is responsible and following all these things.
Well, I mean, that is probably true if you're an NRA member. You know
maybe,
what I
yeah,
mean?
okay.
No, but that's who they're thinking of. They're like, I take care of my shit, so the next guy does too. But that's ridiculous. That's like saying everybody's a good driver. No, everybody's a terrible driver. You have to be a great driver to be able to fucking navigate the yahoos out there.
I mean, even then, like the whole, I don't know. It's just weird because like we don't live in a gun society.
Well, we are going to be living in a less gun society because they're taking them all away.
Seemed rather false flaggy after what Joe said too.
Oh my God.
They
I have
always say
some
that.
things to talk about that Nova Scotia thing. That I thought, was that in this episode?
Yes. Well,
That was a super weird moment.
So I'll get this out of the way.
Okay.
Because of that, they're taking away all the guns. I have a friend who I was talking to who wants to get a gun right now, and he's telling me he knows another guy who has $30,000 in guns right now, and he has to give them all up. because of this ban from the Nova Scotia.
Don't they pay you for the guns?
I was just surprised he didn't know this guy had this many guns. I don't think that's many guns. I think they're pretty expensive guns he had. But
Even then, Simon, when does the government give you full value for anything they're forcing to buy?
but
off?
I think because they're giving you a tax rebate or something, you'll
it's
just get
just
full
the
value for them.
sensation of the government saying what you once did. Sorry, there's no gray area. There's no okay. As long as you follow these guys' lane, we're taking it. It's a weird thing and maybe a slippery slope.
I mean, my problem with Colligan Noir was just things that, like when he was talking about, well, you know, what, they want us to train for 10 hours of training? What? So we agree to that. And then next thing you know, it's 20 hours of training. Then that's not good enough. Then when it's 50 hours of training, like, first of all, if you're for responsible gun owners, what do you care about 20 hours of training?
It's just shooting. You get to shoot.
Yeah, you should be I don't really get. Now again, we don't live in a gun society, so, and I enjoy shooting guns.
But if we did live in a gun society, I would want that society to be as well trained as possible. So if that means 50 hours of training, I'm just like, again, you're getting your gun. And if you're a responsible dude and you don't need that gun right away to go shoot somebody, then you're not going to have a problem waiting. You know what I mean?
I think that's a valid point.
The problem is the Constitution, because think about it like this: like, you have to put a fence around your pool. You might be the most responsible pool owner in the world,
Yeah,
but
but
enough kids drowned that we all said, guess what? It doesn't matter how responsible you feel like you are. If you want to put a pool in your backyard, we're putting up a little fence. That's just how it's going to be. And everyone said, fine. For some reason, guns, though.
Yeah. But you know, even with the pool, there's more to it than that, right? Like everything you said is absolutely legitimate, but it also has to do when you're not home.
Sure,
If
yeah,
somebody
some
were to
random
break
person. I
in,
get it. Yeah, but fine, all that. Even then, the same thing with a gun. Like, you can sit there and say I'm a responsible gun owner. Maybe you don't have a. I don't know. Again, we don't live in a gun fucking country. So.
Listen, it should be look, we let them get in the car and drive right away. It's crazy. Like there should be way more
No, you
training
can't just get in
for
a car and
driving.
drive right
no,
away.
I know, but like
Or you can, I guess, if you get 365, you have to be with someone.
I feel like
Boat
again,
license?
something that should just be a thing that's taught in school long before you ever start driving is rules of the road. Like they should be getting you ready for things that are important in life. Don't get me started on
But
this
even then,
whole thing
Kamar
again.
just brought up a good one. Like, you used to, in Ontario, you used to not need a boater's license. You used to just be able to, I can just figure this out, hop behind the
I
wheel.
mean, I feel like I could figure it out, but
Sure. I mean, listen, the test takes like a couple hours.
I don't know the rules of the pylons and shit, like who goes on what side and where you go when this and where
Sure.
you stop. And
Yeah. And that's all stuff that, helps, obviously, and you should know. But my point is no one, we didn't lose it when they were all of a sudden like, hey, you need to take a test to drive a boat.
You know what I think? It
right,
should
yeah,
be,
it's about the Constitution.
you can own as many guns as you want, but it's very comprehensive when you buy bullets. You buy 100 bullets, they're all traced back to you. So
Yeah.
if you give someone bullets and they shoot a gun, like just the bullets are totally, you can only have your bullets. You can't give bullets to someone
That's
else.
a totally great idea, Kamar. But criminals are always going to find, it's like he said, if you give up the guns and nobody has guns, there are still going to be guns. You
'Cause
know what
there's
I mean?
300 million guns, yeah.
No, but that's what, criminal. If you're a criminal, you're already breaking the law to do the crime you're going to commit. Why on earth wouldn't you break this new law of not having a gun?
If you were to go down this road, which I'm not saying, I've said it many times before, they've got too many guns. They've got their constitution. They're going to do things the way they want to do. But if you got rid of all the guns, then you'd make it easier on the road of getting rid of, because any other gun you saw after that is now, it's not even a debate.
I understand.
But that's not going to happen.
And I don't even know where I stand on this. Like, legitimately, I don't know if I'm against the idea of having guns if it's a much more responsible process. You know what I mean?
If you're doing some trip into bear country, you'd want to be able to have a gun.
Well, yes, for sure. That's a different scenario, though.
I don't know if you can.
Forget
right
about
now.
that. Let's talk about the way it's written in there. I think the only thing keeping the U.S. government at bay is the fact that their public is as loaded as they are. I think that's the only thing. 'Cause they're
Loaded with money or loaded
with guns.
With guns. Sorry, explain that to me.
Well, think about their government is clearly up to some wild shit. And it's clear that if there weren't 300 million guns just lying around their streets, that they might be up to some even crazier.
Oh, it would be China. Is that what you're saying?
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, think about the way shit's going down right now in the States. I mean, if none of them
It
had
keeps them in
guns,
check somehow.
You don't want me to give you my Joe Rogan Simon moment again, but you know what it is. It's fucking, you know why the Second Amendment is there.
To protect the first one.
Yeah, that's what the idea is.
To protect yourself from a tyrannical government.
Oh,
yeah, sure.
That too.
Yes, that's what I was saying. Anyway,
Yeah, I know. I'm agreeing with you
I
wholeheartedly.
had another point. Fuck. Whatever.
I just don't feel like as a Canadian, I'm like clamoring. If I had guns, I think I'd be on the other side, go, this is ridiculous. But it's like
Well, the weird thing to me,
how we were raised.
the weird thing to me is that like this guy sits there, and a lot of people do this, and it's fine. Maybe they're right, maybe they're wrong. It's weird to say something, and he said this like to be like, it's the perfectly written document. It might be, but then for him to be like, I know what they were trying to say back then. Like how? First of all, these people said everyone was created equally while having slaves. So
How can you trust anything they say?
They didn't know about cell phones.
Is that what you mean?
well, I'm just saying a little bit of a weird, especially this guy being African American. It's a bit weird of a juxtaposition to be like, these guys wrote the perfect document. Like, yeah, but they all had slaves. Every single one in that room had.
Bit of an imperfect practice.
Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, it's a weird one. Listen, maybe their constitution is perfect. I mean, freedom of speech, seems like a pretty good fucking thing, which we don't have.
So, sorry.
No, I think my thought was done. I mean, I think Americans have the rights to guns. They should keep fucking guns. Their government is nuts. Buy as many as you fucking can.
How about Elmer Fudd no longer using a gun? No more rifle while he hunts Bugs Bunny. So what do they decide to replace it with? A scythe?
Wasn't a spiked bat?
No, it was a scythe, the thing the fucking Grim Reaper carries. So now he's chasing him around with something he has to bloody him to death when before you could just put a simple hole in him. Not to mention the point they make that right after he blows him up with dynamite. Like, this is crazy.
And he shoots himself.
Because I'm
while he
thinking to
shoots
myself,
anything
look,
else.
if I'm a guy at Looney Tunes and they're making me get rid of the rifle, and this is what we're doing now, just give Elmer Fudd a net. You know what I mean? And he just catches Bugs Bunny. Then you don't have to. Why give him an even deadlier? Sorry, not deadlier, but like give him a fucking katana blade.
Give him a bow.
You know what I'm saying, Maddie?
Give him a bow.
I mean, at this
Or
point,
Joe.
why are we still making Looney Tunes cartoons?
Why not?
Because
Looney Tunes are
We're
amazing.
still making babies.
Well, they were amazing when we were kids, but they were also horribly racist. So I mean,
Oh
why,
no, but
why
they're
not just?
they're not doing that anymore.
Yeah, but again, if you're going to remove the guns and the racism and all that, what are we stuck with? You're stuck with.
But you're saying remove like Bugs Bunny and Donald Duck and
Yeah,
Daffy
just get
Duck
rid of
from
all of it.
existence? No,
not from. I'm not saying erase it from existence. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying don't make new. We don't
well,
need
then
new.
you have to say the same thing about Mickey Mouse because you're talking about Nazi propaganda.
Why am I? I don't understand.
Because Walt Disney was a
It's
huge
the
Nazi.
slippery
I understand
slope
that,
of
but-
the cancel culture.
Well, what do you mean? If we're gonna cancel Looney Tunes,
I'm not saying
because-
cancel Looney Tunes. I'm just saying there's to me like I don't think kids need Looney Tunes now. Do we need 40 years
Well,
of
then
Looney Tunes?
they don't need Mickey Mouse either.
Well, they probably don't need Mickey
Okay,
Mouse.
well,
but,
let's cancel
as
it
a-
all then.
maybe it's a-
well, no, but
Let's cancel nothing.
Maybe we need shared memories, though.
but why is it Simon? I'm not even talking about canceling them. What I'm saying is why do they need Looney Tunes? Who cares?
So we can connect with the young people.
Well, I don't know, because Bugs Bunny and those are great characters. Not everything revolved around racism in that cartoon.
What was Bugs Bunny? Well, Bugs Bunny,
No,
it'd
there
be
were
weird. That'd
wait,
be weirder.
Hold on, back up. There were tons that didn't revolve around racism. Roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote, none of that had any racial undertone to it at all.
Fine. Okay.
So they shouldn't.
But again, like
baby
overly,
with
but
the
super,
bathwater,
but
you know?
super violent, overly violent. They're both trying to kill each other with anvils the whole time.
And Speedy Gonzales was just a fast mouse.
Nobody ever
Mexican,
got, only the coyote.
Mexican
got
as
hurt.
fuck.
I didn't say anything. He was just a mouse. He was fast.
Okay, sure.
And the Tasmanian devil was really like crude.
No, he was a meth head.
Well, even worse. That's
He was a
horrible
Tasmanian devil. They go crazy. That's the
Really?
whole thing.
I've never
Pepe
seen
Le Pew was a rapist. I mean,
French
Oh,
rapist.
okay. I'm definitely behind that.
No.
Pepe Le Pew. Hold on a second.
Yes,
that
I-
whole
He
cartoon.
spent the whole time trying to rape that other fucking.
that poor cat wanted nothing to do with him.
fell in a bucket of white paint, and
That's a.
it's a tough break.
Anyways, I was going somewhere there, but I'm gonna hold back.
Okay,
Simon, all I'm saying is like, yeah, I get it. In like the early 1900s, Mickey Mouse was a part of some weird shit. But then for the next 100 years, there was no real. It was all just ha ha, oh hey, oh.
Need I remind you of something called The Mickey Mouse Club.
Go on.
That's pedophiles, right?
Yeah.
You know,
I mean,
the Epstein clubs.
all tied in there, man. And all of those people became super uber famous in Hollywood or in singers. Justin Timberlake, Britney Spears, Ryan Gosling, Christina Aguilera. Like the list goes
Demi
on
Lovato.
and on and on and on. I saw the most interesting thing on Tom Hanks today. Oh my Lord.
Hanks?
Tom Hanks with an X or with an S?
With 3 X's.
Ooh. Is this some sort of dirty cinema?
No, it was this guy did this whole 3-part series on something all about Mr. Hanks. Because before I always just was like, I heard about this and, I thought it was weird with the X, but now they're like showing you why they're talking about this guy.
They're supporting their conspiracies.
Woo!
It's bad.
Oh, yeah.
It's rotten.
Oh, yeah.
And no one cares.
Did you know that there was a guy, Rafi, he's an actor. He was in a bunch of stuff. I can show you his IMDb. And apparently he had come out and
he committed suicide?
Accused
Isaac Cappy or something?
Cappy jumped off a bridge. And the video he made right before he supposedly jumped off that bridge was like, and guys, if I ever jump off a bridge, just know I didn't want to jump off a bridge.
That's the typical thing you say.
Anyways,
you want to die
we won't get stuck on that in this, but we're talking about in the post, Joe.
Just to get stuck on the cancel culture, unintended consequences. You heard about Aunt Jemima?
Yep.
All of them.
Uncle Ben,
No, but,
and Mrs. Butterworth.
The family of Aunt Jemima said, "What the fuck are you doing? You're erasing our family legacy."
And
they're not
a lot of money for them, I imagine.
I did not read. I thought that's what it was,
It's
but
still
it was
called
just,
Aunt Jemima's, isn't it?
Yeah.
It was just interesting. Like, there's no experts in this. People think they know what they're doing, but
Dude, that was so good. That was such a great. There are no experts in this. There are no experts.
like if we get rid of all these cartoons, then this problem will go away.
Again, I if Matt wants to argue the violence, because he's right. A lot of those are really uber violent, but I mean, maybe I haven't watched the new Looney Tunes, so I don't even know. Maybe the coyote doesn't get beat up as much anymore. I have no idea, Maddie, so I can't really argue that point.
I mean, I don't even care. I'm not even talking about listen, the fact that they still show old Looney Tunes unedited with just a crazy warning at the beginning is...
Oh, I'm sure they pulled a bunch by now.
Oh, yeah.
No, have you not seen what they do? Dude.
Well, they had to pull a bunch right away because I'm pretty sure they had smoking in some of the Looney Tunes.
Hold on. Either way, they have a massive warning at the beginning now that says, like, we show this unedited because to not show it edited or to show it edited would do whatever.
And 6-year-olds are reading this?
I guess. I don't know. Fuck.
Ridiculous. Thank God one of the best Looney Tunes is when Bugs Bunny goes with the opera singer.
Figaro,
and there's no
Figaro.
I love the one where he gets the frog that sing, "Hello, my baby. Hello, my darling. Hello, my ragtime."
That's a little cringy, isn't it? That's a little cringy.
Remember Chappelle? I fucked that frog.
It was
yeah.
It was vaudeville.
Yeah,
So
well,
that's
Michigan
no good?
J. Frog that's pretty racist.
There's a slight difference between vaudeville and what was it called?
Blackface.
Minstrel.
The minstrel shows, yeah.
Same time period. Nah, I'm just kidding.
Okay, it's not my favorite one anymore.
Let the cartoons fly. I don't care.
Really no, but legitimately, and I'm not trying to cover my tracks here because I don't give a fuck. I had no idea that had any racial undertone to it at all.
I didn't think you did. Yeah, I actually found this difficult to listen to because I'm not yelling at them going, well, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about, or yes, thank God someone's fighting for it's just like...
Yeah. I mean, obviously words I've always lived by are DTA. Don't trust anybody. Mm-hmm. And I think it applies especially now. Thank you, Sylvester Stallone. But it also, don't talk about. I think that's just also good words to live by these days. You know what I mean?
Don't talk about what you're really thinking?
Don't trust anyone and just don't talk about.
I feel like the message is we have to talk about everything.
Well, Simon's is don't talk about. It's a fractured sentence. That's his.
Don't talk about. Don't trust anyone.
don't talk about.
And sorry, this is a little bit off topic, but on topic. And you see that now the Simpsons are getting rid of, if you, the person doing the character has to be the same color.
Yeah, well, it happened on Big Mouth. The girl who played
Jenny
the little
Slate
black girl
left.
stepped down, and the guy who played Cleveland stepped down.
And have you seen the memes? They'll say, hey, we just wanted to defund police. Like, what's going on here? Do you know that Nick Kroll's dad's a multi-billionaire?
I just found that out.
I didn't know
actually,
that.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't want to bring that up because that would go my successful people coming from privilege, but that is privilege.
Yeah.
Dude, there's these
Well,
two
it's
guys.
like Ben Stiller. Sorry, I'm not.
no,
a
there's
billionaire.
There's these two guys from Montreal that have this like vlog or blog, whatever they do, and they were talking about Jenny Slate leaving, and they were like, the character that she plays on the show is half Jewish and half black.
Yep.
And they go, Jenny Slate is Jewish.
Yep.
So when she's doing that voice, is she not still representing half of that character? Like, why does she? And these guys are both black. Keep in mind.
Is that
saying
Abba
this.
and Preach?
Yeah, Abba and Preach. Yeah.
Abba was just on Schultz's show.
Oh, was he? Okay.
I know him.
Sorry, and I'm being serious here, okay? Like, as a Jewish person,
Yeah.
aren't I punching up?
I don't know what that means. What do you mean? You've said punching up today 10 times to me.
Like, punching down would be like your white privilege, and you're punching down on people who are less and making fun of them. You know what I mean?
So you're saying Jews are lower than black people? Is that
No,
what you're
I'm saying that, like, if you're oppressed,
Yeah.
I just
Again, there's no experts in this, and they do not know what they're trying to do by getting rid of this stuff or saying you have to be black to do a black cartoon character, or you have to be a snake to do a snake character.
if they are, but especially in this case, to Matt's point, if she is black and Jewish, then don't equally a Jew and a black person have a right to play that character?
or someone of that descendants.
Or
mixed
can
race.
a Jew only play that character if it's a white person with, you know what I mean?
But
If-
even then, do you have to cast specifically an African American Jew to
Well,
play that
I'm
role?
very confused. Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm like. Where does it end, or where? I don't know. Where does it begin? I mean, do you have to write that into the script specifically as well? Like, this person is of. Because I also assume there's been times where, actually, maybe not. No, maybe it has. Because I'm thinking about casting calls. Normally it calls for a race. But I'm thinking about maybe it's just male, 32 to 40. And maybe a black dude shows up and they're like, fuck it, this is our guy.
Give him a
They
shot.
have to put race. Because what if they're casting for a certain...
Well, no, sometimes they definitely do, Simon. But I'm saying sometimes maybe they just leave it open. And
Maybe
say,
those days are numbered.
yeah, who knows?
It's gonna be
and
getting
maybe
very
they just
specific.
know what color they're looking for before they go in and are just running the exercise anyway, so they're not called racist.
Yeah, that too, for sure.
Like, God forbid we would think that Hollywood was, like, deceitful and thinking one step ahead.
I won't have it.
Yeah, sorry, man. Those are your peeps.
I think they're more your peeps.
Now that, you see, now that's a problem.
That was racist.
That's a problem. You better mark
Hey,
that down, because
hey,
Kamar's getting
Look
canceled
at the shade
now,
here.
too.
Look at the shade here, man. And I got bad eyes.
You know, it's true.
I'm
He's like
handicapped.
punching sideways.
Yeah, I don't even see where I'm punching.
This fucking guy.
Disabled, like,
man.
hey, man.
Oh man.
But I think I forget who said it this week, but it's not white privilege, it's rich privilege. So that you could be any color, and if you're wealthy, that's really the basis of your privilege.
Yeah, but that's what that. Who were the two political people that were on 2 weeks ago? One of them was an Indian gentleman.
Yes, it was that radio show. I forget their names.
Oh, The Hill.
What were their names though?
It's a great question.
She had a made up name, Katie.
Crystal Ball.
News.
Crystal Ball, yes,
yeah.
she did have a made up.
But it
name.
wasn't made up. It was for real.
Either way, what he was saying was, he was talking about how whenever you see these corporations giving you some message like we stand behind black people during this tough time, it's really just to distract you from the fact that it's a class warfare more than it's about
Cigar
race.
and Jetty.
That's it. Thank you, Kamar. Either way,
I know. I agree with
And
them.
you
absolutely.
agree with that, or you don't agree with that, Matt?
I agree with that. I mean, keep in mind, racism is a real thing. Don't fucking sit
yes.
here. Don't fucking sit here and kid yourself that it doesn't exist Well, no, I just want to make that abundantly clear.
Yeah, no,
I think
nobody's
racist-
calling you a racist.
No, I don't. Well, go ahead, call me what you want. I don't give a fuck. I don't even read anything anymore.
Here, no, I'm saying I'm not calling you a racist. This I thought was interesting. So he went pretty hard in the paint about the two women who started Black Lives Matter, the organization,
Them being Marxists.
being Marxists and coming out and saying that's what they were. And the goal of Marxism is to dethrone whatever power structure is there. Antifa has the exact same goal.
Yeah.
We don't know who the leader of Antifa is.
It's Gavin McInnes.
No, it's not.
Fuck you, Perry.
Wow, take it to the streets. Not enough just to fight in the DMs now, eh?
Oh my god. Oh my god. But it would totally make sense. Like, let's just say, and again, I am not saying that racism isn't real. I'm not saying that people shouldn't stand up for what they believe in. What I'm maybe insinuating is that because we don't actually know who the leaders of these organizations are, that's kind of weird.
I would say it's sort of like, this just random for one, Antifa or these things are like Leaf fans. There's no head
Maple
of
Leaf
Leaf
fans you're talking about?
but they all cheer for the Leaves.
Right. They
There's
show
no
up.
head of
They
this, but they
show
all
up.
cheer for disruption.
They show up at all the places where anarchy will help in some sort of. So all I was saying was these two parties, like the Black Lives Matter, if it is a Marxist type of thing, and people just don't even know what that organization itself is fighting for. Again, not saying that movement, the movement to get equality and defund the police, that's something different. Like, I'm just talking about the name and that organization. They would be two that would work very well together. You know what I'm saying? They both have the same goal pretty much, is to just, if it's a Marxism thing.
I feel like they're working together. I mean, not they are calling each other at night, but they march together.
Well, I think they are calling each other at night. And no, hear this.
They're texting. No one
Is this
calls
Black
anymore.
Lives Matter?
My daughter was watching something today. It's on Netflix right now. It's called Alt-Right or Rise of the Alt-Right or something. I don't know if either of you
Paid
have watched
for
that.
by Soros.
Well, that's what I was asking. I was like, I just kind of was listening and watching as I was walking in and out doing stuff. And I was like, who is this? Like, who's looking good in this? You know what I mean? Where is this coming from? And they had a black guy who was the spokesman for Antifa. And the whole thing was confusing to me. And this is on Netflix right now. And I'm just like, what's happening? What's going on?
Yeah, I don't know. This guy brought up a good point, though, before I forget. We were talking a few weeks ago about defund the police. And I was saying I didn't look at defund the police as abolish the police, which I think is a different thing. Because you were calling me out saying you can't get rid of police. And that's not what I was talking about. I was saying, because this guy mentioned it, he was like, some people, when they say defund the police, they mean reallocate those funds. Stop buying fucking rubber bullets. Stop buying gas masks. Stop buying tanks. We don't need that shit. And that's all I was saying a few weeks ago, or 2 weeks ago.
I think it was last week. And we also
Yeah.
got in a bit of a tiff about, me and Simon thought maybe you should train people how to get arrested. And then one point I did bring up that some of those kids, if they were to take this mock course or whatever, would become cops and would remember that experience and hopefully not want to propagate that.
Okay, well, I'm glad you brought that up. Just real quick, I was thinking about the Central Park 5, which I know is just one specific incident, but the whole like teaching kids how to deal with the cops. Think about that one kid in the Central Park 5 who just got conned in to going along just because the cop said so. Like, I just don't think we should be teaching kids that, like, hey, you should just go along with these good guys and it'll be a lot easier for you in the end. And like, I just, again, I understand just let me finish. I understand what you guys are saying in principle. I get it. You're saying it would be a lot easier if everyone knew how to deal with the police a little bit better. I get that in principle. I'm just saying I don't.
No, but let's use your case then.
Sure.
And let's not even use principle. Let's use real life.
Okay.
I'm not, whatever this course is that we're suggesting, it's not a one-shot deal. It would be a course. So some of it would be, dealing, what happens if you end up in handcuffs? the other part of that would be, like you were saying, know your fucking rights and know that when you get pulled down, you are just saying lawyer, 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 and you don't stop saying fucking lawyer until they put a lawyer in front of you. Like,
Okay, but that's a different course you're talking about now. Last week it was just you need a course on how
Well,
to.
this is organic. It's fluid.
all in.
Well, I'm just saying, I
It's
mean,
all in
the
one.
curriculum's
Man.
growing.
It's all teaching people how to. And again, wouldn't be necessary if, like we all agree, there was no
trained
corruption.
cops.
You
Well,
know
no,
what
we
I
just
mean?
trained cops how to deal with people. That would solve the problem.
We all agree.
Even
on
better, how about this? I was thinking about teachers and how teachers get like every third year or every fourth year they get to take a year off and go
Sabbatical?
Yeah, just go spend.
I think that's just professors.
Fine, but either way, the idea is that you're supposed to go and learn. And no, it's not, because my cousin's husband is like a elementary school teacher, and he can take every fourth year off to go. But again, you don't just take it off and go to Maui. You go and you learn something more, and whatever, you get paid while you're doing it. I think cops should probably do the same thing. So again, instead of
Every
rubber
4
bullets
years
and
they have to
tanks,
train.
every fourth year you spend one whole year training, retraining.
Aikido.
And again, during that training too, there's someone watching you. And if in that fourth year they're like, this guy's not fit anymore, then guess what? You lose your fucking job.
What I was thinking that we weren't thinking about is something we always say is another huge thing here is either decriminalizing or legalizing drugs.
Well, we have to do that.
I mean, imagine how many of these situations are because cops are looking for a baggie of coke or whatever. You know what I mean?
or a joint.
Or what? Well, that Joe Schilling brings that up, but just that's not even defunding the police. That's just taking a whole thing they do out of it.
Do you ever watch Live PD?
I don't think I can anymore. Was it canceled?
Either way, I used to watch like YouTube clips of it, and it's always just a cop. Like, come on, man, I know you got a dime bag somewhere.
The
Why
whole
don't you just-
situation is because they're trying to.
That's
get
it.
him
And
out.
then someone pulls out like a dime bag, and next thing you know, they got 10 dime bags, and maybe there's a gun, and like, fine, they have a gun, but the whole thing started because of a
Well,
fucking.
what's that story, Joe? Sorry to cut you off, Matt. What's that story that Joe always tells where it's the teacher who goes, not the teacher, the cop who goes into the school. It's like a hot chick, and she hooks up with the boyfriend, a kid, and says, "Get me drugs," and he's not even a druggie, and he goes and gets her drugs because she's so fucking hot and he loves her, and then she turns around and arrests him.
The ultimate honeypot.
Like
But
that,
even
that's
then,
dirty.
Why are
pool,
you?
know?
Well, I mean, that's the whole thing. Like, why are you trying to arrest? What are you going to get that guy and be like, tell us who your fucking dealer is? Like,
Well, that's what they thought, that they could like extort this guy into.
fucking
God,
ridiculous.
the dealer they're looking for is 12 people up from that little kid. You know what I mean?
and you're never getting to him through that.
That's what I'm saying.
But still, they're trying to, and there's no pushback here. Cancel syrup, cancel rice, cancel cartoons, whatever. When the big thing is decriminalizing drugs, like, how does that come up into the realistic conversation?
Well, what did I say right away last week about that? Was it last week? I don't even remember. But like, if they're now going to cancel Uncle Ben's and all of that, which if that's what you got to do, like if people are offended by that, and that's whatever, who am I to say? But then you have to do the same thing with the Braves and the Indians. There is no more argument anymore. Immediately, they are not lesser than black people. You know what I'm saying? These are two oppressed people, and both, if one is awarded to one, then you have to award the same. Otherwise, it's totally hypocritical.
Well, I've said it before. The Redskins could keep their name and just change the logo to like a Redskin potato. Problem solved.
Right. We don't need to get
But
into that
that's
whole
the
thing again. But
biggest
you see what I'm
fucking-
saying.
Yeah, totally, yeah. But I'm just saying.
And the way they would do it too is they'd somehow make the potato look exactly like the chief.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
people could just
His
like
face
add
is in there?
3
No,
lines
no.
in
It
and
would look like a
completes
longhouse
the
or
pie.
something.
Same thing. The Indians just do like someone from India.
So they
Just
talk,
waving.
Some butter
Hello.
chicken and some vindaloo.
they talk about it twice in this episode. In this week. That, and I think I told you guys about it. It was that video of the guy getting pulled over. I think he's a white guy, and the cop comes up and he's like telling him to give him his license or to get out of the car, and the guy's like, "I was going 5 miles over the speed limit. Like, what are we doing here?" And the guy's like, "Well, then I'm gonna pepper spray you. So get out of the car." And this is all. And they're having like a rational conversation, but the cop is obviously a real douche, and then he goes to try and pepper spray him, and the pepper spray doesn't work, And he goes, well, it's your lucky day. My pepper spray doesn't work. And the guy's like, are you guys watching? You know what I mean? This is crazy. This guy's crazy. And then he pulls out a taser and fucking...
He gets his way. Yeah.
It's bonkers.
Sounds like
but
that guy
yeah,
needs some
Joe
more
must
training.
have just seen it this week because...
Dude, I saw one the other day where this cop, this huge black cop, standing with two other cops in front of this old white guy. And so the huge black cop has his camera turned off. Like his body camera's not on.
Okay.
But another cop that's approaching, his body cam's on and captures the whole thing. So this black cop is standing in front of this old white dude. And he's like, what's your fucking problem? They're having like a conversation. And he's like, would you feel better if you slapped me? Why don't you slap me? Just go ahead. Hit me across the face. Will it make you feel better? It'll make you feel better, right? Come on, go ahead and do it. And so the white guy looks at him and he goes, you're not going to arrest me? And he goes, of course I'm not going to arrest you. And dude, this guy slaps him, but like this slap is almost comical. And it's almost like the guy just did it to be like, all right, I'll slap you. Or, I guess this is what we're doing. But like, and then this black dude takes him to the fucking ground.
Another honeypot.
And you're just like, what are we doing here? Like, what is happening? Are we just arresting people for the sake of doing it now? Which we clearly are. I also think about like how many lives have been ruined because of like a small, like think about the path someone takes. Like you get arrested for weed when you're young and you end up like maybe in juvie because you get a shit lawyer or you just have a shit deal and your whole life could change because of that one fucking
Your
terrible.
record.
It could even be less than that, Maddie. It could just be a case of if you decide to resist or not. You know what I mean? Like that, just that in itself could make
But even
or
then,
break.
there's times where dudes don't arrest and the cops still are like
resist.
Resist. That's
Yeah.
what I said. Isn't
You
it?
said arrest.
Okay, sorry, resist. There's times where guys still don't resist and the cops are like,
Of course, Matt, and I'm not debating that fact. I think, but most of the time, I would like to think that most of the time, regardless of color, regardless of anything, if you don't resist, you'll get arrested. But maybe like the resisting just makes them angry. Like
here's my problem though is, again, most of the time they blow it out of proportion. Where like a cop could just talk to you calmly, and be like, okay, I'm gonna put you in cuffs. I have to detain you. I have to whatever. But instead, they do this whole fucking super militarized thing where you get slammed into a wall or slammed into the ground or some shit. And hold on, and that there then puts you in a fight or flight mode. What was that?
I was backing up your hold on.
Thank you. No, it puts.
Sorry, I just did it.
But Simon, it then puts you, an untrained civilian, in a situation where you're now in fight or flight mode, and you're like,
Matt, everything you're saying is true.
And imagine if you haven't done anything. I mean, let's even put you in a position where maybe you have done something. Maybe like, and I won't use George Floyd, but maybe you've done. Let's just pick a mundane thing. Maybe you've shoplifted, right? Maybe that you've shoplifted, and a floor walker has followed you out of the store and points you out to a cop. Like, let's say you've stolen $30 worth of shit. You know what I mean? Like at that point, you're going to get slammed to the ground. I mean, it just seems fucking like, why can't we? And I get it. The cops are constantly like, well, what if they have a gun? What if they have a knife?
The cops are, sorry, my counter to this, Matt, is going to be these cops have to assume, especially in places that have high crime and things like that, like you have to assume that people are moving on you. You know what I mean? Like if you don't and you're caught blindsided, like that would be crazy.
You may never see your family again.
So
Yeah, I get it,
So
but
I
hold on,
see
hold on,
both
hold on.
sides to this. I see your point, and I see the point I'm making.
Okay, but they have a lot of stuff in place. Keep that in mind. They have a lot of stuff in place for police where it's set up so that you're not going to get shot if you do it all correctly, right? And it doesn't involve a knee to the back or abusing anyone.
Of course, and the same way you see sometimes where the cops put the knee on the throat and all those terrible things, you also see when a cop just goes up for a normal pullover, and like we've seen this video, and the guy just reaches and shoots him. You know what I mean? Like all of those things can happen on both sides.
If you legalize drugs, you take all
a
that
lot of
crime
them
away.
won't happen. I agree with that.
So I think that's the only way Trump could win the election now.
Oh, and isn't that interesting, that you can go back long before COVID and listen to Simon saying the way Trump is going to win this election is right at the end. He's going to legalize marijuana federally, and he's going to get all the young vote for it.
I think it's got to be more than just marijuana, but I think he's in a tough place right now if he wants to win.
Didn't he just retweet a video of someone yelling white power?
Sure.
Can I tell you my theory?
Hold on, wait.
about-
Why is that a brush off for you?
Because
you support a racist? I'm just curious.
And Biden's a rapist, and
Yeah.
like
Yeah, all of that-
They're
But hold
all
on, stop.
trash of garbage. There's nothing new. Nothing can be done.
But you can't back up. But stop. Come on. I'm just asking. Is it not time to get off the Trump train?
I haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it.
Well,
Fine.
you know why I'm getting off the train? Because he just couldn't build the wall.
Okay, that's stupid.
Can't even build the wall. I can't.
You were
know?
never on the Trump train because he was building a wall.
Well, that's something I can hold against him.
Here,
Come
I'm
on,
gonna.
this is the problem. Is you can't like. It's tough to have a real. Everyone's like, let Kamar speak, but then you talk that shit.
Let me
and
see that video and see what it.
Forget
I
about
thi-
the video. Do you
Well,
not?
well,
let me
that's
just
the whole
ask,
thing
but
we're
hold on.
talking about.
Let me just ask you at this point, though. At this point of his presidency, do you not think Donald Trump is maybe just a little bit potentially racist?
No more than anyone else in politics. Like Nancy Pelosi, there's no way he is more of a racist than Nancy Pelosi.
You didn't answer my question.
Do you see her with?
Why
the
won't you
fucking
answer my question?
Can I?
No,
can
I
s-
don't think so.
Can I?
No more than anyone else who we stand here and support and do not condemn.
Kamar,
Who do do I support Nancy Pelosi?
We don't support any of them, really.
Well, no, we're Canadian, so go ahead, Simon.
No more racist than Trudeau.
I'm gonna help you here if you want to be helped.
I don't feel I need help here.
You do need help. You need serious help. I'm gonna step in and help you if you want.
I still feel the crazy attempts to get rid of this guy outweigh his.
He just asked you if he thought he was racist, and you wouldn't say yes.
I don't think he is racist.
Holy fucking moly!
Okay.
Well, there we go. It's fine if you don't think
I
he's
can,
racist.
I can sit here and say Trump isn't. The things he's done in office aren't as bad as they, and I can still say he's racist.
Yep. You can. A racist to me is someone who's like, I cannot stand black people. We gotta get rid of black people. A racist is not that person's black, that person's Chinese, that person's whatever, right?
No,
Wait, hold on. So you wait. So
just racism isn't just against
guys
black
think-
people,
you guys,
is it?
You guys think Trump thinks deep down inside his heart that there will be a better place if they got rid of all black people? That's how racist you think he is, right? I don't believe that.
I don't know if it goes down to that
Exactly.
level of hatred, but
Exactly.
the things that are coming out of this guy's mouth, you got to assume are like you're seeing a little bit of his true colors now.
I do not know. He's saying he said white power. You said Trump said white power.
No. What I said was he retweeted a video that someone had posted, and in that video, someone is heard yelling "white power." So it's kind of
So he
ugly
should
when
just
the
disassociate.
Well,
from
we
that
know
thing
we know
altogether.
some of the people who support Trump are that demographic.
that doesn't matter. Do you think the president of the United States should be retweeting a video?
No,
in which,
of course not.
But
Of course
I
not.
believe what you're calling. They call that a dog whistle. And maybe he does that.
Well, Trump could easily just edit that out of there. I'm sure he has people who could do that.
But they call it a dog whistle because it's something only some things can hear, right? That's what they call it.
like only Matt can hear it.
No, I think when he said good people on both sides, they said there's a dog whistle from Trump saying KKK racists, keep going, keep at it, or whatever they extract, right?
No, but you understand what he's saying, right? Somebody from the crowd yelled out. That is what you're saying, right, Matt?
At a
Yes.
Trump rally.
And then Trump retweeted that video instead of A, not retweeting the video, or B, retweeting it and editing out that guy in the crowd.
I mean, again, why not just not retweet
Like,
the video?
He wanted to retweet the video, I assume, because he wanted to show the crowd or something.
And he's
right?
playing that video as a dog whistle. That's what we're assuming, right?
And that doesn't bother you?
I have to see the video, but yeah, I'm bothered.
If that was the case, do you not think that's like a wee bit racist?
A wee bit racist, yeah. But I think everyone's
You're-
a wee
you're
bit
willing to-
racist. Everyone's a wee bit racist.
But don't you think it's weird that in this day and age, don't you think the president should not be a wee bit racist?
Of course not.
Like we should try and get somebody in there who's just as impartial as possible when
Absolutely.
it comes to color.
Someone like Jon Stewart.
Okay, but now let me help you because I really feel like you can get behind this. Okay, I've given this a lot of thought because we had a big discussion about Trump the other night, and unfortunately, I fell into your position.
I'm so sorry that happened to you. You can't do that
where
anymore.
I was the guy who had to stick up for this guy, and I didn't like it.
It's a
You know
losing
what I mean?
proposition.
But then I had to figure out a way where I could do this and still hold face, and I think this is how it's done. All right. So Trump decides to get into office. Okay. Now, I do not believe that Trump went into office with the idea of cleaning up the government. Do you know what I mean? Like getting rid of
Or even winning.
the pedophiles. Yeah, because I don't think he thought he could win any of that. Once he did get in, I think he was approached by people who said, I think he was approached by a lot of people, but one of the factions who approached him was probably a faction that said, there is a giant pedophile ring going on throughout Hollywood and the government, and you can do this. If you get Epstein, we can bring this all to light. If that's the case and Epstein goes to trial and we're able to bring all these people to justice, you are guaranteed any term in office you want because you are going to be a fucking hero. Okay?
I like this.
You
so
like
far,
where I'm
yeah.
going so far? Okay. So he does all that. He gets Epstein into jail. And if Epstein has to go to trial, right now we may be having a totally different conversation. But Epstein is dead.
Oh, he definitely died of coronavirus.
Or Epstein is
And he
gone.
made it this far.
Or whatever. But now Trump has to rely on his charisma and his political acumen. Like, without having that to fall back on, this guy is being exposed for exactly what he is.
Well, I just said 5 minutes ago, I don't think he's going to win this coming election, unless he legalizes drugs.
Well, you know why he will lose this election is because
there's many reasons.
the people who vote for him think that it's so in the bag that they won't even show up the way they did with Hillary.
Same way
you know
Hillary
what I
lost.
mean?
Yeah. I do not feel like he's in a strong position right now to win the election.
But anyways, what do you think about that theory, Maddie? So that's not giving him any credit for being a good guy, but it's saying that he was trying to do something righteous, and as soon as it fell through, he has nothing left to support, and that's why you're seeing now.
Even though he's racist, if he was trying to do this,
we would get that would be okay.
It's a pass.
No, maybe not the racism because he wasn't racist at the start. He was trying to win that black vote heavy.
he's still trying to win that black hole. They're saying the people, the majority of the voters he's losing are white. Mm-hmm. Not black people pulling out who already support him. I think what might sink him if we found him in some blackface.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's going to surface.
Like Justin Trudeau styles.
Like Mr. Trudeau.
Ow. But it didn't hurt Trudeau.
Imagine if Hillary was sitting on
It helped him.
Imagine if Hillary was sitting on an old photo Bill had taken of Trump on Epstein Island with a young girl in blackface.
No way she's still sitting on that.
You don't
No
think she
way
would have
she's-
used that already? Yeah.
Oh, maybe it's the long con. You never
the
know.
second she lost, that picture would have been
She would
out.
have brought it
Just
to her
saying.
concession
Just
speech.
Maybe Bill couldn't find it.
Oop, I dropped something. Sorry.
Bill, every night I want you down there for at least 1 hour looking for that photo.
You mean in like the dungeon?
Yeah.
Well,
Hillary, all those girls are down there. I don't want to go down
All
there.
the bones are down there, Hillary.
All those girls.
It's spooky.
No, it's all those girls have gotten so old, Hillary.
It's funny that you guys put me on blast
man.
because
No, okay, fuck.
Colin Norrie or
That just insinuates they're still alive down there.
Yeah, he's been holding on to them.
Okay.
Right? Okay. Whatever.
No, I mean I'm
That's
with
how
you,
sex
but
slaves
I
work,
just
right? You
think
don't let
he's
them go.
bringing in a new. Oh yeah, they cycle through.
So you guys think Colin thinks Trump's racist is going to vote for him anyways? Just because despite he hates me, his interests are more in line with mine? Because he said he's going to vote for Trump. He voted for Trump last one and voted for this one.
You
Makes
asked
you feel like a criminal, like a world-dominating criminal when you...
Chico? Yeah, like Dr. Evil.
Yeah, exactly. You don't understand my question?
Well, you asked a question,
Yeah.
and then I didn't
And then
understand the
diverted
question,
it to Chico.
and then it went 1,000 places. And I still don't know what you asked.
Just because I felt the question was very smug and I'm rubbing my little animal here.
He's my little animal, first of all.
It's in my brain. This episode, he's with I fucked it up. Kalyan Norrie voted for Trump and will vote for Trump again.
Well, so he doesn't think he's a
Again,
racist.
is there a question in there?
Well, you guys are like, Kamar, you gotta say he's racist. I'm like, well, this guy doesn't think he's racist, so
Come on, I'll put it to you this way. It's not that I think you have to say. You don't have to say shit. You're entitled to your own opinion.
Respect.
I really don't care what you think. I care a little bit. I think that's where we're at, is that we kind of grew up together, kind of in the same, kind of scenario, I guess. And I just don't, maybe it's that I just don't see how you, Like, I know you well enough that I don't see how any of your viewpoints align with him. Maybe that's all it is.
I see Trump getting so angry out there that he's going to have like a weird Freudian slip. You know what I mean? Where he's just going to be like, he won't be able to help himself. And something's
Trump is
just
like,
going to come out.
N-O-R-E. Nori stands for...
It's just like I've always said, the people protesting against him are shittier than he is, so it can't be that bad. And then he wins you over.
I don't like
once
how you
and
do that. I don't like how you do that at all, Kamar,
He
at
wins,
all.
He wins you over if he lets go all the alien stuff. If you lose the election on his way out, fuck you, bitches, there's aliens.
I do not, for one goddamn bloody moment, believe that he has any information about the aliens.
I hope he does. I hope he's holding on to it as his, excuse the pun,
The
trump
wa-
card.
When his son asked them out, which, by the way, I agree with these guys, like the weirdest interview of all time.
The only one weirder was Cuomo and Cuomo.
Oh, that was weird.
That's weirder.
With the giant Q-tip? I'm sorry, the second weirdest interview of all time. But
You can't interview family members.
when he
It's
says
ridiculous.
to
well, not if you're the anchor of the news show. Family members can talk to each other on Fox.
No, but I'm just saying, though, it's like an interview is supposed to be
both a corner, yes.
finding out new information. It's very awkward asking someone a series of questions you already know all the just the softest of balls. Yeah, it's unreal. Just lobbing up fucking, just cranking them out of the park.
But I found the Cuomo one more disturbing than the Trump one.
his answer is so stupid, though, when his son asks him, so Dad, that's not his voice at all. So Dad, what's in Area 51? And he's like, there's some interesting stuff. And like, of course there's interesting stuff in Area 51.
Dude, there's interesting stuff in my basement, you fucking
Well,
mope.
that's true too. And there's probably really interesting stuff in Donald Trump's basement.
And there's even more interesting stuff in Area 151's basement.
151?
51.
No, I'm talking about the rum.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad I put that together to defend myself.
But you know who has really interesting stuff in their basement? Sorry, Kamar, just to interrupt you. The Clintons. Just like we were talking about.
I think they have interesting stuff in someone else's basement.
They're not that smart. Hillary fucking sent the emails from her bedroom, dude.
I bet Jeffrey Epstein's in their basement right now.
And his egg-shaped penis.
Yeah.
Like I said, if Colin doesn't think Trump's racist, I don't think he's racist.
You got it right there, first try, man.
Because I've been thinking about this the whole time we were talking.
colon.
Execute.
Colon, like your
Cancer.
yeah.
Colon cancer.
Yeah, oh, I got it.
Listen, Kumar, like I said, you're entitled to whatever opinion you want. It's fine.
Whether I'm wrong or right, yeah. I just hope I don't think there'll be ever a day where it'll be like I'm vindicated, like, see, he's not that bad, and there'll never be a day where it's like, oh my god, he's that bad.
But dude, why can't you jump all over what I gave you? Like that would be saying
I love it. I love it. That's my new talking point.
Because the only reason you should love Trump is because he's trying to expose this
The
thing.
Law and Order. That's what.
So, Kumar, let me ask you a question, though. Like, if when Donald Trump died, they went to his basement, which Simon says is full of interesting stuff, and they found nothing but Nazi paraphernalia.
I was wrong all along. Oh my god, what else have I been wrong about?
But no, but what if one of his
Mel
kids came out
Gibson.
too? What if one of his kids came out and was like, no, it's like Lemmy. He wasn't racist. He just really enjoyed like
He collected
old
it.
war. Yeah, you know what I mean? There's always some way to fucking twist.
Lemmy from Motorhead?
Yeah, Lemmy from Motorhead had a lot of Nazi paraphernalia.
And if you told me he's racist, I'd be like, yeah.
That just happened in a show I watched too, where they go into the closet and the guy has a Ku Klux Klan outfit. What was that?
That's a bit different. You just have one outfit.
No, but his contention was Don Johnson is the cop. What is this that I watched?
I don't know.
And they go in and
He's
It's
bound
an
down.
old Miami Vice episode.
he said that he had it because no, it's like some futuristic show and it all has this like racial undertone to it. What the hell was I watching? It'll come to me. Somebody will know. I explained it enough so somebody will know.
There you go.
Okay. Well,
Well, let's be
see.
done with Coley
Sure,
and Noir.
whatever,
I've given him an
yeah.
hour.
Yeah. Whatever you want. Can I just give one
Yeah.
more thing? Because
Simon,
I
it's your
think
show
this
too,
is a
buddy.
problem.
Go nuts.
So last week we were talking about Crystalia.
Yes.
And we said it was too early, and I haven't heard anything new about it, so I don't know where we're at there. But what did occur to me, I heard somebody else talking kind of about this, and then I kind of put something together myself, is Or maybe I didn't. Maybe I'm just stealing something somebody else said. Either way. So the DNC is pissed at Joe. We know this.
We know this.
We know this. He had on the guys they don't want anybody voting for and won't have on the people they were trying to push. He is bad-mouthing the shit out of Joe Biden. He's talking about maybe voting for Trump. Like, these are all things that are enraging the DNC. Joe has a massive platform. All of this
I
is
said all this
true.
last week.
Okay, sure. So what if Kamara is right then, and this is not saying Chris D'Elia is innocent. He could very well be guilty, okay? And this still fits the narrative, is that for the next couple of weeks or months, you're going to see that a lot of comedians are going to be outed in some way, and they're going to try and paint comedy as like a dirty business, and it's just overrun with racism or sexism, misogyny, whatever, and then they're going to go after Joe. And they're going to go after him not as Joe, but as like, look at what you're holding up in esteem, this comedian, and comedy has become like a bad word just because it's been associated with so many Chris D'Elia stories or Jeff Ross stories or Danny Masterson stories, and they're just going to keep coming and coming and it's just a theory.
Well, what's interesting is I think, like I said, D'Elia went down, then all of a sudden it was Joey Diaz and Joe. I think that was like a test.
Well, you know,
see where the waters are, and maybe there'll be another rush. But what I was going to say is, in the same week, Justin Bieber got accused, and he's turned around and he's suing for $20 million. So,
well, he proved somehow that he was in a totally different place on the night that happened.
If Chris D'Elia is 100% innocent, he should do the same.
That is true. What was I just going to tell you?
I think good on Justin for setting this precedent. Like,
this is post-show stuff. We're doing Colion Noir.
Yep.
Okay, well, we're done with that. Whatever you want. I for some reason had that at a note in here.
Okay, weird.
So I assume they said something that sparked
fair
it
enough,
into
fair
my
enough.
head.
I'm just.
That was my.
It just seems very post.
It was my big post, Joe.
Yeah, fair
I had
enough.
it, now it's gone.
Okay, well, sorry. He stepped on the lead, not me.
No, but I was like, it's coming up now. It's how stupid if I talk about it later.
All right, my bad. I'm not trying to step on
Can I
anyone's toes
just
here.
talk about the Nova Scotia thing for 1 second?
Yep.
And what I thought weird?
Sure.
So Joe, usually very responsible about the conspiracy theories he throws out.
Mm-hmm.
I find that he usually gives them quite a bit of thought before he decides to like accept it as something he's willing to throw out there.
Mm-hmm.
He threw this one out there just fucking willy-nilly. Frankly, I had never even heard this.
The money?
I hadn't either.
Yeah. So I don't know. He may be totally right, but if he's not, meh.
Well, he's a certified moron.
Joe.
Yeah.
Well, Joe's in a great position, I find, because he wields a ton of power. His podcast is what it is. He can say whatever he wants, and in the end, if there's a problem, he can just be like, I am a comedian. You know what I mean? Like,
wow.
I'm just a comedian. I've never said I was anything more, and it's true.
I think we're going to call him out in the Jon Stewart episode, but
we'll get there, yeah.
But what was it in the Nova Scotia thing that he said?
He said $400,000 withdrawal was in this guy's account, meaning coming from the RCMP or something, meaning this was a total psyop. That means a lot of people died. Granted, weren't there 20 deaths or something?
Well, if you listen to some conspiracy theories, no one died. They're actors and all that. But that's what conspiracy people say.
Okay.
That is fishy, that money.
It's totally fishy. I had never heard it before. What if that is not true at all? What if this is a 100% bogus story, anything to do with 400,000, and this guy was a crazy dude who just killed all those people? I don't know, man. Like, I'm not saying just Joe, but
I saw that in
this
CBC.
is a lot of people it's going out to.
I saw on CBC, so I thought it had
you did the 400,000
more merit.
Then
to
I
it.
take it all back. Maybe he saw it on a credible source. I'm sorry.
Don't you guys think the weirdest thing talking about guns is the Vegas shooting?
It's crazy, the Vegas shooting.
How that happened, and it's just this crazy guy snuck these guns in somehow. And
but you've obviously listened to all the conspiracies.
I've listened to a lot of stuff.
Yeah, that we won't talk about it because again, I don't want to whatever.
I don't know anything.
If even some of that is true, we got a problem, Houston.
Back to zeitgeist. Okay,
A real big problem.
Can we rate this one?
Yep.
Can we maybe start with Simon?
I will give this one a 3. Yes, a 3.
Like I said, I found it difficult to listen to because I don't feel either way. But if I had to tell someone what a responsible gun owner sounds like, I'd send him here. But I give it a 2. It was just whatever.
I give it a 3. I'm with Simon. Better than average.
I should give him a bit more because he's a Trump supporter, but I don't want to look bad in front of you guys.
Dude, who cares what we think? I don't even care what I think.
And again, you're totally entitled to your own opinion. I just want you to like be able to say, this guy is a piece of crap. I was supporting this mission he had. Because we know, like, he is a piece of crap. Yeah. Donald Trump is a piece of crap.
But we know, I think all politicians are pieces of
But
crap.
stop saying that. Just stop for a second. Donald Trump, not being a politician, just being the guy he is a piece of crap. He's a bad businessman who does terrible deals. Like, he's a dick. He's a misogynist. He's like, name any bad thing. This guy fits the bill.
I did not dislike him before he became a politician. He was just Donald Trump. I watched The Apprentice, whatever. Like, I just thought he's laughable. I was never.
Yeah.
And I know people at the same time before he became president, like, he's the worst. Like,
He was
I'm
a
just not that
laughable
person.
moron, but now he's held to a very high standard. He's the president of the United States. It's the highest standard.
As we discussed last week, Ronald Reagan had Alzheimer's, was being held like.
But
he came off classier.
Again, but just looking back into the past
And have you heard
say,
stories of Lyndon Johnson?
Again, just
He
going
was
back.
the president of the United States.
I know. Okay. Going back into the past and saying, look at this guy and look at this guy. We're in 2020. We hold our presidents to a higher standard now, or they should. And we hold our prime minister to a higher standard. We hold people to a higher standard now.
Okay, well, I hope the day comes where I can just repent.
But I have given you the out. All you have to do is jump aboard it, man, and ride with me.
The problem about the out is if I'm right, then I can't recant.
But you want to ride dirty.
We're riding in November, baby.
And I'm asking you to ride with me clean.
I'm sure he's going to lose.
They see me rolling, they hating, patrolling,
Chameleonaire may be the worst name.
Terrible name.
One of them.
I just realized that'll go up on YouTube, so I didn't want to give it more than... Didn't want Chameleonaire coming up
I
for
thought you were
200
just fucking
views.
with me because I
We're
was
done. He's taking those 3
Yeah,
cents.
he's
man.
taking-
I
Yeah.
was jamming out.
We're not even monetized. Who gives a fuck?
So you guys had agreement, and I thought it was just under par.
Yeah.
Very good. Let's move on.
Do you want to take a break now, or do you want to take a break after? Because Jon Stewart's only an hour and a half.
I think we're gonna breeze right through Schilling, frankly.
Yeah.
So
Joe Schilling.
I say we take the break now, and then we'll finish strong.
Okay, well, there it is. We're going to take a break, maybe pay some bills. I don't even remember, and then we'll be right back.
Yeah, you say that every time, anyways. Just in case.
TRUMP.
Whatever.
Well,
I didn't own anyone.
What are you saying?
I didn't own anyone.
That's crazy.
I'm
Tom.
just
You're just
instigating.
angry at me because I wouldn't stick up with you for fucking Trumpy there.
I'm not angry at all. I'm quite happy.
Disappointed.
Let's
I
do
don't
it.
know what the term is. Come on.
Joe.
All right, let's do it. Sorry.
Joe Schilling.
Joe Schilling, yeah. So Joe Schilling, really nice guy. I mean, I don't know a lot about him. I don't really, whatever.
Championship kickboxer.
My problem with this episode is Joe had Joe Schilling on like he was somehow an authority on police brutality because he has an Instagram account where he posts videos. Like, come on. Anybody with me here?
Yeah. Well,
Haven't I been saying this stuff for weeks?
once the
Why
thing.
has Joe Schilling been on?
No, but I've been saying for the last couple of weeks that he should forget it.
Yeah.
mass
But
authority.
I mean, this is like just nobody else was coming on and like they were having them. Sorry, they didn't have like whoever on, and Joe was like, "This guy's an authority." I know he didn't say an authority, but why else would Joe Schilling be a? Well, he
Well, it was
actually
a non-MMA episode.
and non
is the
MMA,
point.
and he actually did say he said I had Joe Schilling on because he has such an important Instagram account.
Well, the
Like,
Instagram is very just clip after clip. It's raising awareness. And obviously, with Jocko the last week, Colin the weekday before, this was the other side. I felt.
I am not at all against. I want all that stuff brought to awareness about police brutality. I'm for reforming the police if there's a problem. If Joe has any responsibility right now, you know what I mean? Like, this one just seemed careless to me. I'm sorry.
Agreed.
Yeah.
And
Well, the thing they're doing wrong is it seems like they don't care about black people. So why don't, if the numbers are so high on the other side, why don't you start showing all the police brutality towards white people? That'll really get white people to change their mind quickly.
Well, what I suggest that everybody do, if they haven't already, is listen to that episode of the Sam Harris podcast. But I really feel there might be one or two parts that maybe seem a little tone deaf, but for the most part, that guy really articulates like exactly what the fuck is going on right now.
what systemic racism is?
Did you listen to that episode?
Yeah, but it's cut off halfway
Why is it cut off halfway?
because you have to subscribe.
No,
to get the full
that's not true.
episode.
Subscribe. You don't
Making
have to,
sense with Sam Harris
yeah, you don't.
puts half his podcast up for free.
Well, subscription is free.
It's free.
It's free if you can afford it.
No, I'm telling you, I hit subscribe
I
and I've
listened
never
to
paid
the
him a
whole
dollar.
podcast. I heard him say goodbye. I fucking
On Apple,
Yeah,
Yeah,
on Apple,
man.
yeah.
I have half a podcast. I'll
No,
show you
you
after.
do not.
Okay.
We'll have to look into this.
Anyways, yeah, I'd
Maybe
like
I
to
just fell asleep because he's so
I'd-
boring.
listen. Granted, whatever you want to say about Sam Harris, I am not a Sam Harris fan. When Matt suggested this, I was very hesitant to listen to it. I think it is the most important podcast that anybody can listen to in 2020. Everybody, all human beings should listen to this podcast. Now, granted, one or two moments, maybe a tiny bit tone deaf. He is a human being. He was trying to do. I don't think he did it on purpose.
No,
I think
can I actually real quick, in that episode, I wanted to bring this up to you that I forgot to bring up. Joe brings up a good point in the last episode with Coleon Noir. Sam Harris talks about how there's more police brutality or more white people are killed by police in a year than people of any. There's more white people.
Yeah,
Just way more white people. So that number.
that's a fancy.
no, but what
statistic.
Thank you.
Sam Harris also said was that in that demographic, it's about crime being committed as well.
And the
It's not-
incarceration's the other way, and there's still more white people.
Anyways, you know what? I don't want to talk about it because my new answer to anybody who wants to have this discussion is please just go listen to this podcast. I really feel like he can articulate everything that I'm kind of thinking in my head but can't get into words. Just listen to the podcast.
In the meantime, Joe Schilling,
Coming back from the brink.
Can we come back from the break?
Sorry, can we come back from the brink?
coming back from the brink would be more optimistic.
And I'm not sure if we can come back from the brink, Maddie. Sorry, I don't really care about just 1 second. I'm not sure if we can come back from the brink because this is such an important episode for everybody to listen to, but lots of people are going to be like, this is coming from a white guy and I can't hear it. And that's the problem. You know what I mean?
Oh, I mean, he kind of addresses that at the beginning.
I get it.
Just saying.
But
just
like, if a lot of this stuff is hard to hear, I understand that. Especially coming from...
Simon, I was the one that told you to listen to it.
I'm talking to them out there.
Maybe we'll put a link on the Reddit to it and
No, dude, listen to it. Don't listen to it.
provide people an
But
opportunity to get
that's
it
my
easier.
answer. If you want to have this conversation, my answer is please see his podcast.
Okay.
Okay. Sorry, back to Joe Schilling.
He described one of the videos he had of a guy getting pepper sprayed and shaking it off and then getting beat up, whatever. And he called him a G at one point. And from that point forward, Joe started using G. Did you notice that?
No,
You know when someone talks to someone with an accent, he used G 3 or 4. He never uses G.
never.
He started using G.
Well, this goes to my whole Joe just supporting the idea who's ever on, you know?
It just, that's a good way to make someone feel comfortable.
It is. But
Just
that's
talking
not what
language.
you're supposed to do. You're supposed to be there. If you don't agree with their opinion, it's okay to not berate them, but you have to be able to stand up. It's kind of like the chiropractic. Joe had to, at that point, insert his opinion,
Not with Mr.
regardless
Coleman.
of who
Not
it
with
was.
Mr. Coleman.
Doesn't matter who it was, man. It could have been fucking Gandhi or that's a weird example, but somebody who does chiropractic who invented it. Like,
But then I think Joe felt like he shot himself in the foot
I know,
having
Matt. I'm sorry.
Joe Schilling on because Joe Schilling was so conspiracy theory about Corona and everything.
And again, you know me, love me a good conspiracy theory. But the COVID not existing, I'm sorry, that's just the.
But he didn't say that. I mean,
he did. He did.
at the very end, he was like, "Look, I know it exists."
He tried to say it a bunch of times.
yes,
no,
I mean-
he said it a bunch of times and then backpedaled at the end. That to me, the COVID not existing is like the flat Earth. You know what I mean? It's too far. It's too far. So I'm sorry. That's my opinion.
Well, anyways,
So
Joe.
you're done with Joe Schilling? That's it?
Joe had him on to talk about police brutality, and then found out that shit, this is
So basically, what happens now is a scientist came on. He said a bunch of amazing things that we agree with, and then right at the end, we find out that he's a flat earther. What do we do?
not quite that. And everyone, he's a kickboxer. No one's going to take
I know.
Joe Schilling.
It was a joke.
It was hilarious. Another thing, he brought up the Chris Rock joke. It's been brought up a couple times.
You can't have any bad pilots.
And there was an article that just came out this week. 30% of the pilots in
Pakistan.
Pakistan
Dude,
don't know how to fly.
I saved that article. I nearly shit my pants laughing.
So-
Fucking unreal.
I guess you don't need to.
Did you hear that properly, Simon?
Nope.
32% of pilots in Pakistan flying commercial
Fake
flights
licenses.
do not have a real pilot's license.
That's insane.
Let that sink in.
Is that true?
Yeah. Well,
Seemingly.
unless it's fake news. We both read articles on it. It's more than one. And India or Pakistan is saying this is a problem because what they do is they pay someone to take the test in absentee. So someone out there knows how to
it's
fly,
the
but not the guy who gets the job.
It's the college scandal from here with what's her name?
Yeah.
From
Felicity,
Desperate Housewives?
Felicity Huffman.
Jesus
Which is-
Christ.
It's insane she's going to jail.
Well, let's talk a little bit about that then. If you think it's so crazy that she's going to jail.
Why don't we save her for the post show? Write it in your book.
Well, no, she committed a crime. She goes to jail, but just it seems like there's way worse crimes.
Totally, but when you get caught guilty and then you're like so belligerent that you're going to waste the court's time, even though you know you're guilty, you deserve to go to jail.
I guess so.
But that's besides the point. There's way more reasons why she should go to prison.
Well, I think I'm of the
I mean, I'm with
idea that
Kamar where
prisons
it's
are
like
just for
prison
violent
is
crime.
prison should be reserved for like
Oh, okay. Maybe she should get like some
Uber fine.
parole scenario where she goes home at night, but she has to spend her days doing something she really hates. Like, it's not enough that she just pay a fine because she obviously has too much money.
But then that's
So,
white privilege.
No, she has to be punished somehow.
And she's going to be.
Here's the weird
And
thing.
if it's not jail, how do you suppose that we're going to
Fine.
punish her?
Here's the
Like,
weird.
she has too
Hold
much
on, hold on.
money.
Here's the weird thing to me is like we do these things where the court will fine a poor person like seemingly 80% of their wealth. You know what I mean? Because they have nothing.
Right.
Whereas a famous person, it's like, what are you gonna charge someone who has $10 million?
She should do community service, giving hand jobs to homeless people.
Hand jobs for the homeless. That's a really good incentive. I like that.
That'd keep me out of fucking paying for my kid to get into college.
Did you figure out the logic on that one? Permission to treat the witness as hostile?
No, I know what he means. He's like,
Because I'm fucking sick of this guy.
no, I get it. What they're saying. Wow, for once, there's animosity between you
I
two.
like G to be as hostile.
So you know what's funny too is
Hashtag let Kamar speak.
I sat back and just let you do all the because you normally this is me and today I just didn't have it. I was like I don't have it.
Yeah, I'm with you, man.
It's not Father's Day. It's not his birthday.
No, I felt that Maddie was down and that he needed a little bit of help, and I was willing to step right up with your nonsense.
I can carry both of you. It's all right. Bring
I
it
don't
on.
have it. I don't have it.
No, but you know what I'm saying.
No.
If you knew that you got to give homeless people hand jobs, you wouldn't do the crime.
What he's saying is this, Simon.
More
Let's
of a
say
deterrent
hold
than
on.
maybe
That
jail.
bitch probably wants to give homeless people.
Well, then
hand
I
jobs.
Whoa.
want to see video of it.
Yeah, sorry, no, that's not true. I take that back. No, I don't. She probably does.
Not.
DTA. Don't talk about it.
Anyways, the problem with this is this really was an MMA podcast, and I think Jamie just forgot to label properly.
It was absolutely 100% an MMA podcast, and
It's weird you say that though, because I only remember them talking about MMA for a little bit.
The
No.
whole thing.
But why is Joe Schilling so special that he becomes a regular when every other fighter is in MMA? That's the question.
Well, it was
it's
his
all
Instagram.
because of his Instagram.
Well, this one, yeah.
When he had the beast on,
You can't say, but hold on. You can't. He only started doing the MMAs like since we started this podcast. So anytime before that, you can't say like he didn't label it an MMA. That's unfair.
sure. Work with me here for a sec, Matty. When he
Easy Weinstein.
when he had the black beast on,
Yeah.
which was since we've done this, was that an MMA or was it a regular episode?
I don't think
Do
we
you
did
remember?
it. I don't think we did it.
It was an MMA.
Okay,
On MMA.
amazing Instagram account.
Yeah.
Beast.
That's
But his
The
Instagram account is just World Star, pretty much.
He's just saying that the
It's
reason
pretty
why
much
Joe
just
Schilling
World
got
Star.
on.
Well, sure, but
Police
Joe was
star.
again. I feel like I'm getting down on Joe a lot lately, and I don't want to do that because I really like the guy. But maybe I'm just super critical now because I'm in the middle of a lockdown and I'm angry or whatever.
hold on. We have a show where we discuss the things on his podcast. We're obviously fans, or we wouldn't fucking do this.
Yeah.
I think about that every day.
So I'm just throwing that out there before
Yeah.
I start bashing the guy again. You know what I mean?
No, but keep in mind too, I think listeners need to realize it. Like someone hit me up a couple months ago, or someone wrote on the Patreon and was like, sometimes it really comes off like you guys listening is a job, because I listened to this one and I really liked it, and and I'm with them. Like, listen, there's some weeks where there's a lot of podcasts and I have no desire to listen to a 5-hour honey. Whereas maybe if I didn't have to listen to any of them that week, maybe I would have turned that one on and enjoyed it. I don't know. But yeah, we're obviously fans
It'd
of
be
Joe
worse if we just every episode he hit it out of the park again.
No.
It's another 5. I can't help myself here. Joe does it again.
I'm not suggesting that. All I was saying is lately it feels like me personally have been coming down on Joe a lot.
But I think that has to do with what I was saying at the beginning, how Joe is echoing what's going on in the world so more than he used to, when it could have been about anything in saner times.
It's much easier for me to agree with Joe all the time when he's talking about aliens and Bigfoot than when it's real
Again,
world
there's these
shit.
issues and stuff that we...
Because Joe is not perfect by any means, and
By
a
his
lot
own
of the
admission.
things he says, I don't think he thinks out, and then he thinks out, and then he changes his mind, and that's why we see a lot of flip flopping.
We'll get to that.
Which
with
is
Jon
probably
Stewart.
a good thing. Like, that's a human thing to be able to rethink your ideas and then come back with a different.
Listen, I can't tell you how often I listen to the shit I talk while I'm editing this thing, and I'm like, do I really believe that?
Too late now. Well, I guess you could edit out.
Well, and just look at me with the Trump last week. Like, I was exactly where Kamar was. I was, but then I
You've
was
been
like,
drinking.
You're lost and now you're found.
That's very true. No, but just in general, I was like, because I very much feel this, that bless you, that the DNC is going so far to get this guy out that they're willing to sacrifice all the things that made them good in the first place. You know what I mean? I fully believe that. These people are fucking out to lunch. They are killing that party. Killing it. And the fact that they're willing to put Joe Biden in there is just the glaring proof that they have lost the plot. That doesn't make Trump a good guy.
I mean, I was thinking about it the other day, though. Bernie's only like a couple years younger than him.
Then who, Biden?
Yeah.
Regardless, it's not an
I just
age.
get it. I get it. He's got it more together. I mean, he also had a heart attack while on the presidential trail. So
right. And
I'm just pointing. Listen, I would way. Like,
But I'm not
100
even
times out of
talking
100, I'd prefer Bernie.
I'm not even talking about dementia.
Sure.
I'm talking about through the course of this guy's career,
I
he's
understand.
been a creepy fucking guy.
Dude, I watched him put his hands on every woman.
And do we need another creepy dude in the White House?
Well, it's always
Like us. I say that like an American, but
it's also the okay, we established everything's fucked up in this country. You've been working on it for 30 years and we're here. Why all of a sudden are you going to be able to fix it? Will you just not give it enough power to
who are you talking about now?
Talk about Bernie.
Joe Biden or Bernie? Well, Joe Biden, Bernie, any of these career politicians.
I get what you're saying, but yeah, maybe that is the argument.
Sorry, I didn't get it.
What he's saying is like, listen, if you've been in politics for 30 years, you've either changed everything you've tried to change or you've changed nothing. I guess there's a gray area. Maybe you've changed a few things, but what he's saying is like, what makes you like if you've been doing this for 35 years and you haven't, for example, made
And
any
you
real
were vice
change.
president.
Yeah. No, that's true.
Here's another good example. Like Bernie Sanders, they have photos of him, fighting for equality back in the 60s.
Yep.
And we see where we are today. So you could argue like, hey, everything you've done in the last 30 years, nothing's really gotten done. So what Kamar's saying, I'm just telling you where the thought process is going. What he's saying is, what makes this guy think that all of a sudden he's going to become president and actually get stuff done?
I mean, to that point, I'll say, I don't know if I agree with that or not, but at least there's no reason why the minimum age for all these people should be 70 something. Like
The maximum age, you mean?
no. Like the youngest person.
The best person to run should be younger.
Yeah, it's crazy. And especially with the DNC, when they're sitting there on a roster of murderers, you know what I mean? What are you doing? You have Tulsi, you have Andrew Yang, you have Bernie, and you're fucking around and putting in Weekend at Bernie's like Joe Biden. This is crazy. But that's exactly why.
I think young people don't vote. And we see it every election, no matter where you are, the turnout's like 52%. Mm-hmm. And 70% of those are old people. They like to see someone old like them. Whereas, like, I'm not letting some young whippersnapper take away my retirement.
I would hope that for nothing else on both sides, everybody learned a lesson from Hillary Clinton, and that lesson,
or Trump, the whole thing.
That lesson,
she lost, he won.
Is if you want someone to win, then you go out and vote. Don't just assume that it's a landslide. Don't assume any. Go out and vote.
Well, the countries where it's a law are better served.
But you're saying that they don't.
Well, we have horrible turnout here.
Right. But you went out and voted.
I voted.
And I went out and voted. And Matt went out and voted.
I'm not going to lie. The only reason I vote, there's only one single reason I vote. And that's because I know that there's millions of people around the world that are unlucky enough to not have a vote that matters. I truly don't believe in our system that my vote does matter, but I still go out and exercise the fact that I have it.
Right, but if everybody thought like that, then for sure
I get it, Simon.
The election.
I'm just saying I'd still go out and I do it, but I don't think that any one of those people, I'm like Kamar, where I don't think any one of those people, what do you need, filter? I got you, Kamar.
But that's the thing. Every year this happens. Every year there's a push to tell people to vote. What I find the most annoying is I was listening to CBC the other day, and they had a special story about how this is a unique graduation class.
Yeah.
Because obviously they can't do proms and whatnot. And, the typical CBC human interest story. And then they had this girl on talking about how she believes this generation is the generation that's going to be able to change racism. Because they know. But I swear I've heard that from graduating classes for the last 20 years, that they're going to make the change. We're going to save the planet. You know what I mean? It's just the beauty of idealism, and it gets crushed by life's responsibilities. And obviously, another thing, UBI would help change systemic racism, possibly.
How so?
Well, I just think...
I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just asking you to continue.
Altruistic people come up. High school, change the world. University, change the world. Job, oh shit, real life. Oh, and your ideas and the things you stand up for, once you have anything you care about, sort of get pushed aside. And none of this will go away as long as there's young people being born. That's just a fact, Jack.
Oh my God, that is the best soundbite I have ever fucking heard.
What, that's just a fact, Jack?
No, and nothing will be gone if people still getting born. And that's a fact, Jack.
Well, no, these people coming up, the world's unjust, discover. There's no Santa Claus. That's what I've called the Santa Claus.
This is getting better and fucking better.
Dude, he sounds like a beatnik fucking Def
amazing.
Jam. Like,
but I'm not making any sense to you at all.
But you're making great sound bites.
I mean, the way you're squinting your eyes at me, I feel like I should.
I wonder if I should talk louder. Would that make more sense? No. I'm just saying there are always going to be people saying, oh, racism's a thing, da-da-da.
Was that a shot at either Matt or I?
No.
It was a shot at me, for sure.
I'm trying to communicate my point to you guys. Okay, come on, I see what you're saying. Maybe you don't disagree, but I see what you're saying. And I don't feel that.
You don't feel the love.
I feel like special needs and you guys are being politically correct and just going.
Could you pull your short bus up a little closer so I can see you through the window?
Can I point out that I used to translate for you to Simon?
You still do.
You still do. You've been doing it all episode.
At least give me a break.
Well, no, but I don't see you nodding. Like, I understand what you're saying.
I don't see you nodding.
Or saying the words, I see what you're saying. Come on.
Right. That's
Acknowledge
funny,
it.
Kamar. You need acknowledgement. I get it.
You know what's
Everybody's
interesting?
human.
You know what's interesting is like I asked you earlier a simple question and you fucking tap danced your way around it for 20. So again, you can't give me the same
Well,
credit.
no, I clearly understood what you're saying.
Fucking dickhead.
Enough to dance all around it. Yeah. All
There was
over
no
its
question in your
grave.
mind whether I understood what you were saying.
Okay.
So, crazy little Matrix. I don't even know if this is a Matrix moment or if this is just like a universe thing or whatever. But last week, anybody of the 4 or 5 people who listened to us who remember, I was a little disappointed because it was so hot in here and the post show was really short and I had a ton to talk about in the post show.
Abbreviated.
And blah, blah, blah. Anyways, so my plan this week was going to be I have quite a few things I didn't get to last week. I was going to try and slip them into the post show this week. Believe it or not, one of the main things I was going to bring up, they bring up in this episode for no fucking reason.
Did they bring up or brag up?
No, they brought up.
Okay.
What did I say? Brang up?
Did they brang it
I
up?
think you did a hybrid.
They brang it up.
They
That's-
brang it up.
They brung
Brog it up.
They brung it.
DTA. Don't talk
Sorry,
about
I
it.
should have interrupted you.
No, it's all good. I'm not going to get lost.
Don't talk about.
Don't
you
talk
sound,
about. Don't talk about.
You sound like English is your second language.
Don't trust anyone. Don't talk about.
Don't talk about.
No, it's just a really open-ended thing. I could say don't talk about racism. I could say don't talk about sexism. I could say don't talk about the stock market. I could say don't talk about aliens, Bigfoot. It's the door is open.
All the things you want to talk about.
No, just anything that may get you in trouble. Don't talk about.
Okay.
It's safe.
Gotcha.
Don't trust anyone because they may shank you in the shower. And don't talk about that guy's mother. Don't talk about the weird tattoo in the bathroom stalls at prison. Whatever, you know?
I'm with you, Simon. I'm right here.
We're done.
Okay.
Okay.
Guys,
No,
thanks so much for watching.
No, I mean, we're done with that. I'm going to now tell you how
Well,
the
yeah, we're
Matrix
getting
came
this point.
into play. So I have this whole, I extrapolated on a theory I had heard while watching something that a fan suggested that I watch a documentary. And yeah, they bring it up on this episode for no reason. I don't even know why they brought it up. Just all of a sudden they were talking about elongated skulls. And I was like, holy shit.
Because they were talking about bowed feet.
Is that why they were talking about it? This is amazing. Okay, so now you guys get to hear my theory on the main show instead of the post show.
I've heard this theory like 6 fucking times now.
But Kamar hasn't.
Just before we get in the theory,
Yeah.
they're
And
saying
neither of the fans.
they're
I mean, the
saying-
people. The 5 people out there. Sorry.
bound feet would hurt. I don't know if they would.
They do.
Oh.
I can tell you because my grandmother, she didn't have her feet bound, but she had to wear shoes that were way too small for her feet. And her feet were disgusting in the end, but she told me that those shoes hurt.
But I think the binding is a gradual process. that they do,
Oh, I see what
and
you're
it
saying.
grows into that.
I feel like I've
Or
read.
does it grow into that?
I feel like I've read a book about geishas, and that it is not a nice process.
Was it The Good Earth by Pearl S. Buck?
I don't remember. Maybe it was Life of a Geisha or something. I don't know. Pearl
Yeah,
S. Buck.
I read that book
But Kamar,
because I saw the movie.
I really feel like it hurts.
Did you read that book?
I think you're wrong.
Of course I didn't read that book.
Okay. Anyways,
Dummy, you never read that book.
but like they said, when they make the elongated skulls, you get into they're doing it with the babies when they have the softer
That
skull.
is correct.
So it might not be that
presumably,
painful.
presumably, if they're the ones doing all of them. And some people aren't just being born like that. But that leads me perfectly into what we want to talk about. So
So, to what you want to
Yeah,
talk
yeah.
about.
That was a real liberal use of the
Yeah.
word "we."
you'll like this, Kamar, I hope.
Because
So,
he knows I'm not going to.
well, you've heard it. You already
Yeah.
told me you loved it.
Nope.
I keep crossing my legs and it fucking kills. So, Kamar, back in ancient Egypt,
Hold on, one sec. How's that weed?
What?
How's that weed?
No, that was being
Oh,
pretended.
okay, my bad.
I'm so high I can't understand words.
I want to try that weed.
I'll give you a nug.
Nice,
That's
thanks,
very nice.
So back in ancient Egypt, they have found elongated skulls, I believe, and also through their hieroglyphics or whatever those.
I've seen
hieroglyphics?
pictures
Not
of
hieroglyphics, whatever they
People
are.
look like aliens.
There's a whole like lineage of pharaohs that have these elongated skulls. Their wives have these elongated skulls. It was a whole thing for a while. Okay, so let's just say let's just say that these people were star children. They were a cross between it was the same idea as the Anunnaki. Alien comes down, giant, who then breeds with human.
With the vagina.
And the child that comes out is this half alien, half human hybrid. Okay. Elongated skulls. So then they find elongated. That's weird too, eh? That elongated has Elon in it.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Dude, get the fuck out of here.
That they find them in Mesoamerica as well, these elongated skulls all over the place. So then I started thinking, these people were saying that what was hiding their heads? That brought me to this conclusion.
Powdered wigs.
No, that was where I got to.
Syphilis.
Oh, sorry.
I started thinking, what in time would people use to cover up the fact that they had these alien
Priests
heads?
would wear those big hats.
Well, that was just, it was the Vatican. The Vatican wears a lot of these conical hats, and they wear them kind of back and to the back. You know what I mean? So I thought, wow, that's a great way to cover them. And then I started deep diving into all different ways that you could go about covering the skulls. The Middle Eastern people had a whole thing. The turbans is a whole one. The witches and warlocks, obviously, that's like right there. And then the powdered wigs. And that brings us all the way to like much closer to modern day.
And then we get the Kango.
I was going to say the Yankee cap.
You need something bigger than that. Top hats could do the trick. Because it's aristocracy.
Top hats.
That were hot, that would have been these star children because they would have been like royalty, you know?
And they've just been weeded out. Well, there's not one now.
There
What
might
about
be all
the,
sorts of them. That's my point. And
What hat are they wearing? They're
like,
wearing
notice how Lady Gaga is always wearing like some elaborate headpiece. Think about the Queen and all her hats.
These
Like,
are all interesting
we
choices.
could really take a fucking look through this, man.
As you were saying, if it's true, we've got a whole new issue of racism on our hands.
So, Simon, do you then think that maybe, can I ask you a question then?
Sure.
Do you think all of your people are from these elongated skull people? And that's why you wear yarmulkes, because it's a leftover. Your skulls have since shrunken back down to normal size, but as a nod,
subtle. It's very subtle.
as a nod to your former people, you wear a much smaller hat on top.
And there are much larger hats as well.
I could totally see that, Matt. I think that's very interesting.
Roll
the
with me
Jews actually wore very big headdresses. Like now that I'm thinking
There you
about
go,
the
for a
guys,
long time,
the
see?
rabbis who guarded the Torah and brought that, they all, even now at
Yeah.
the shul, they come out and they wear these
Huge
giant,
ones,
it's
yeah.
very much like the Vatican ones.
There you go.
You know what? I mean, all religion is bunk. Don't get me wrong. If anything, I look at
I was
Jews
just going
as
with
more of
hold
a
on.
race than a religion, you know?
Simon, first of all, I was looking at more just the yarmulke. As like
Yeah, as a
as
nod.
a nod to, you know,
Listen, Matt, black cube of Saturn. That's like,
black Cuba Saturn.
I'm just telling you that
Yep.
image shows up the Muslims in Mecca, right in the
Stop pointing at me.
right in the middle is a giant black cube made of like some stone that comes from a meteorite or something. I am telling you the honest truth. They all walk around it. They touch it for power. The Jews wear something on their head. What is it called? It's called a tefillin. Is it called a tefillin? It is
called a
It
tefillin?
is a
Is it called a
fucking.
tefillin?
It is a fucking black cube. Like all these religions are tied in. You know how when you say the DNC and the Republican, they're all the same. Like no matter who gets into power, everybody's getting fucked. You know what I mean?
That's an orgy. You are saying that the head thing is genetic. They were saying it was more surgical.
Stop. Once just to. I'm sorry. I don't mean to say it like that, but just to correct you. Many of the skulls they find, you can see how it was done. Many of the skulls they find do not have a normal skull is attached right here with a suture that is done at birth with the bone. Like everybody has it. Everybody. Some of the skulls have this, some of them don't. So some of the skulls they're finding are, yes, done to, these are the people we're trying to worship. We're trying to get our children to look like the star people. I get that. But the skulls that don't have this suture, those are the real deal, man. Those are they were born like that because they're
you're-
half space people.
You're saying to me they're both, as I was saying,
They're
it
both
was
out
one
there.
or the other.
Well, one is some of them are real. And like I just said, some of them are the people.
Imitation.
Everything you do in religion, everything we do is a form of imitating the things that we revere, whether it be gods or the fashion that we, people copying prison styles or whatever. It's all just us human beings. That's why apes are apes. We ape everything. No, it's true.
I hope it comes back. Like some hipsters doing to their kid right now.
And what
But,
kind of hats
it's
will they
cool
wear? Because hipsters can wear anything and make
just
it
those
cool
big,
again.
the big toque. That's a perfect one.
Ooh,
the
Rasta
A
things.
beanie?
Yeah.
It's like a
the
giant
long
beanie.
but then it's scrunched up.
Yeah,
so
I'm with you. Yeah,
It's
yeah.
a hipster beanie.
The hipster beanie. There it is.
I like it, man.
Case closed.
No,
Another
I-
X-File.
I like it.
A lot of
And that was
fighting
it.
talk.
The
A
next
lot
guy,
of
the next
fighting
guy
talk.
who's coming is the breathing guy. That's what he said.
Yeah, great.
I'm done.
A lot of fighting talk. I wouldn't badmouth Joe Schilling. He'd fuck me up. Sounds like a tough guy. Sounds like a good dad.
Sorry.
Fighting the good fight.
I'm not at all bad mouthing Joe Schilling. I just don't think he is the authority on Black Lives Matter or police brutality.
I don't think he is.
that
I don't
were-
think he thinks he is. And was like,
Do you know what I noticed a lot of fighters say?
and I'm not saying you were saying that.
No. I understand. I'm wondering what he thinks.
Do you know what a lot of fighters say that I think is a really redundant and obvious statement? And I heard Joe Schilling say it, and it's what it made me be like, I hear all of them say it. If you don't like fighting, this probably isn't the profession for you. Yes,
No shit.
I think that is very obvious, that if I didn't like fighting, I probably would not find myself in the UFC.
But you've heard a lot. Sorry, just to side with
Sure.
Joe Schilling for a second. You've heard a lot of fighters, I'm sure, say, "I don't actually like fighting. Like I'm scared to death when I get in here, and this is what I do."
say that's most-
maybe I feel a calling to it, but I'm scared every time I get in there.
I say that's most, and there's a small percentage that actually want to be there.
I still think they all enjoy fighting in one way, shape, or form, Simon.
Yeah, I know.
Even if you're afraid, I think also you have to take away.
It's such a test. It's a human test.
But I
right?
think this is what's interesting too. We'll find out now because of the Apex with like 10 fans there. Maybe it'll be different for some fighters. Maybe some fighters are going to come out now and be like, it was all just the crowd that fucked me up. Like I hated public speaking.
in a bad way.
Yeah, maybe now they'll come out like, dude, with 10 people here, this is like being at the gym. I'm going to fuck this guy up. Like,
I feel like a guy like Mighty Mouse.
Yeah.
Just as an example off the top of my head,
Sure.
knowing nothing about him, making all of this up, that he is like the type of guy who was so good that maybe he never ever got like beat up really in the ring. So he spent his whole career breezing by, but like he was in it to be the best, not necessarily because he loved fighting so much, but just because he was the best at
And had he
that
got caught
particular thing.
earlier in his career, he might have gone down a different path.
I don't know. That seems stupid now that I say it, but whatever. What do I know?
But you bring him up 'cause
I'm
they-
a fucking idiot.
They
Joe
talked-
Schilling knows a lot.
They talked
more
about
than
how he was in some
about
other
fighting.
league and kicking ass there.
Who? Mighty Mouse?
Yeah,
But
Yeah,
he's
he went to
fighting
1FC.
nobodies in 1FC.
no.
I don't know what that means.
Okay, am I wrong there? It's not
Well,
the
like Joe
caliber
said-
of the UFC.
Well, I mean, they got some good guys. But like Joe said, too, they're throwing the best of the best at them.
Mm-hmm.
I liked. I want him to have Bob Sapp on,
Why?
and well, just because he's such a crazy guy, like he must. He'd be as interesting as anyone else he's had on the show, especially his experience of being like this huge guy, a super celebrity in Japan.
Yeah.
And if he's honest about the steroids and all that. And then they talked about Crocaw, and he was the first guy. Crocop.
Yeah.
He's the first guy that scared me
Dude, he was no
when I
joke.
saw him and how he take on anybody.
Yeah, he was no joke.
And he is oddly the footstep for Brendan Schaub.
Yeah, Schaub knocked him out.
Maybe it's whole different world if he didn't knock him out
Yeah. I can't believe Schaub knocked Krokop out.
at the end of his career.
Well, either way, it's nuts. Dude, Mirko Krokop was a killer.
The killer.
well, we obviously don't give Schaub enough
and-
credit as a fighter then.
And Mirko Krokop was a police officer,
Yeah, in Croatia.
so he was a very well
But
trained.
he was like special forces. Like, he wasn't just like, I walk the bit and they do it.
But I just wonder if this started off about police brutality. Was he a brutal cop or was a good cop because he was trained?
Well, no, again, I think he was the kind of cop they called in specifically when it was like it's time to crack skulls. Like these are the worst of the worst guys. So go in and do what you got to do.
We can only wonder.
Well, I think they deal with like Chechen rebels and shit too. So it's like send in Mirko.
Just tying back in the police.
Let's
Tight
rate her.
bow.
Yeah, please do, dude. I don't know what's wrong with my fucking
I
eye.
give this one a 2.
I give this one a 2 as well.
Joe Schilling didn't do a bad job. I think we just can all agree MMA.
I give it a.
It was in MMA.
I give it a 2.5.
I give it 2.5. Yeah, I feel horrible. I give it. It
It wasn't like below average. I mean, it was average. That's it. There was
was
nothing
like-
more to.
We're talking about all this police brutality. Where is this going? Are we going to come to a solution? And then it just sort of his conspiracy theory about COVID.
Just
Fuck that
it
shit.
seemed like gasoline
fighting.
on a fire that we didn't need. You know what I mean?
But I agree with most everything he's saying. So I was like, yeah. But I don't want to say it out loud.
You just did.
Almost. I said almost everything he's saying. We can break down what I agree with or whatever.
Fair enough.
It is
fair
what
enough.
it is.
My fucking eye is fucked. Okay, let's move on. Jon Stewart.
1498, Jon Stewart. Name I never thought I'd see on the show.
And as I said to you guys, it's unfortunate that it was remote.
Yeah.
And when I saw an hour, I was like, what?
It was an hour and a half.
An hour and a half.
You know what I will say, though? I'll give Jon Stewart all the credit in the world. He was there pushing a movie that he pushed for all of 30 seconds.
That was going to be my closing thing. He didn't even push it.
He didn't even know the day it came out.
At the very end,
Yeah.
Joe said, oh, yeah, your movie.
Joe's like, don't you have a movie coming out? He's like, I think tomorrow. What day is it today?
So he's on to push a movie, and he didn't push a movie. Huge.
Yeah.
Just huge.
Jon Stewart's the shit.
This was one of those episodes where you get to see a very interesting dynamic on the Joe Rogan show because, again, Jon Stewart, Joe Rogan. You know what I mean? Like in...
Well, they've both been doing... I mean, they've been in comedy
or
for...
at least Joe Rogan, Jon Stewart, totally equal. You
Can
know
we
what
bring
I
up something
mean?
crazy that didn't
So-
come up? Was Jon Stewart was in Little Nicky. Or no, it was in...
Another one.
Which one's the one where he has a dad? Little Daddy? Big
Little
Daddy?
Big Daddy.
Whatever it is. Yeah. Jon Stewart was in that.
Yeah,
he
I
had a
remember
big part.
him being in that.
They didn't talk about that. I thought that was interesting. Just because he had
Considering
just...
had watched every Adam Sandler
That's all I
movie.
was thinking.
Maybe he didn't watch Big Daddy.
Maybe not.
Kamar,
Either way.
why did you look at me like all like dumbstruck there for a second with the last thing I said?
What was the last thing you said?
I don't remember anymore. Jon Stewart and Joe Rogan.
Oh,
Because I never even got to my point.
Because I thought you were going to say about how, well, I think we just found a nomination for the movie game, but how they were talking, he was talking about Boston and how he got on Letterman.
Yeah.
And right before he went up, but Joe's always talked about comedians who would go
that
to
happened
Boston
to.
and get fucked over.
But he wasn't talking about Jon Stewart. He always
I'm
used
sure
the
he was.
example
No,
of...
No, but I think it happened to
happen-
all of them.
yeah.
And yeah, he wasn't saying him specifically, but that...
I bet
I'm
you
with
that was
you.
in
Yeah.
his head, in his
Yeah.
mind,
Yeah.
and it was sort of like John said the other side of the thing. This was an amazing podcast, and the weirdest thing is, it makes me want to be a liberal again. You know what I mean? Because you can't disagree with Jon Stewart because he's just making so much sense. He doesn't sound
He's
like
super well spoken.
a fanatic.
No, he doesn't
Even
sound like
though
a
he's-
phony either.
And he didn't hold back just because it was Joe Rogan, the huge platform. He just said what he fucking thought.
He was invigorated by the conversation.
I think so.
But doesn't it also feel like he has a really good understanding of how it all works? He's not just talking out of his ass. Does that make sense?
Well,
I think so.
the day he left, I became way more conservative because the voice of reason went out the window. And everything just got crazy.
I hated when he left The Daily Show.
But I also hate that he has the responsibility in a satire. Like, it's the best way to get stuff out, obviously, or communicate stuff. But he doesn't have to be held with the same accountability as like CNN or Fox or any, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
And he got this responsibility, like, you are the voice of reason. Like, well, we're just trying to be
It was
funny.
a Chappelle moment.
Chappelle-ish. Yeah.
Well, remember when he was talking to Tucker Carlson and he was like, I'm on between talking puppets and
I love my Tucker Carlson, but he served him.
Well, he said even in this episode, he was like, I was done with The Daily Show, man. Like, he felt like it became a job. It wasn't fun. It was
well, no, but he was really talking about like there was times where I couldn't find the funny in stuff like this happening, and that was my job, was to find the funny. And And a lot of people got pissed at him when he'd come on there and just be incensed about stuff. The right would push back super hard and be like, fuck
Sound
Jon
too
Stewart.
preachy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
There was the best moment in this show where Joe's like giving his praises about how great he is and kind of where comedy's at right now with those type of shows. And he's like, and John Oliver's show is killing it, and Trevor Noah is doing your show.
Yeah.
I'm glad
couldn't
that's
say
what he said.
killing it,
I'm
obviously,
glad that's
because
what
the
he
show
said.
is fucking terrible.
He did not conflate or.
But it was so funny the way he did that, and Trevor Noah is doing your show.
I felt Joe was a little aggressive at times, going on rants.
Very aggressive.
Jon Stewart was just talking reason stuff.
I think it might have had to do with that they were remote, or
Yes,
that they
yes.
were remote.
Joe was talking with his eyes closed sometimes.
And
Some weird-
also, they were having all sorts of problems with their thing.
There
where
were some delays.
You could tell, like, I don't know if Joe thought he had to keep going because he didn't know if John was even there or not. I don't know, man.
No. Joe was playing it smart. Listen, the way you'll have a terrible interview if you play it the way. Excuse me. What you're saying, Simon, is like there were times, I'm with you, where Jon Stewart would go to talk, but Joe was already talking, and then the Skype would just cut Joe off, or cut John off. You're best at that point to just keep going, because you'll play the back and forth game for fucking
to try and get it
30,
back,
40 seconds, whatever, and you might as well just keep fucking.
And if they were uncomfortable with each other, it would have. There's a trust that.
Oh no,
was sort of
for
going-
sure. I just found that, like, look, we finally get Jon Stewart on, and it really felt like it was like a lot of Joe. You know,
those were my complaint was just.
I will
technical than
again though. I'll give it to John that he was only there for an hour. It was his first time on, and again, he didn't push his movie at all. He was like, "I'm here. I have some things to say." And
he was I thought he was amazing. I thought he made some really good points, and I thought it got so interesting at the end. We'll talk about when it gets there about the meat. Like, that was, to me, that was a really, like, it was really crazy to watch them go.
The problem is he knows everything about too many issues. Like any one of the things that he got deep down and talked about, but we all agree with it. We know the money's there.
by the way, I love how Joe at one point says to John, he's like, "There's people calling for The Rock to be president." I was like, that's you, motherfucker. Don't do that.
And him.
Well, yeah,
What if he becomes a mayor of a town in Texas? Or
okay,
sheriff?
hold on. I also wanted to bring that up. Fuck, I forgot. Okay. Joe sits there in the Coleon Noir episode and is like, "The taxes here are fucking nuts. They're insane. It's nuts. Texas, ugats." And we know he's moving there. And then the next episode, he's like, "I think people should pay their taxes. You should have no problem paying your taxes. I love paying taxes."
That's the hardest part, again, is having 200 millionaires talk to each other.
Yeah.
And I know their heart's in the right place, but you can just look at something where, you know what I mean? It's just most people are trying to afford to live and can't worry about giving more money to fix something that will help maybe their kids' because they're too overwhelmed.
Yeah. Jon Stewart, I guess, is doing a lot of work helping veterans.
Mm-hmm.
That was like a big deal for him.
Mm-hmm.
And then that just brought me again around to this. These are the people who are out fighting for you. They come home, you say you don't have the money to help them. Are you okay, Matty?
Yeah, I'm fine. My eyes just fucked.
You should not touch it, though. The more
Yeah,
you touch it,
I
the
know. I'm
worse it'll
trying.
get.
Here, I know what I need. A little cold on it. Just keep going. Don't worry about me.
What was I talking about? Oh, the veterans. And just especially now when we, again, with this COVID, and we see that when we need money, everybody, all the governments,
there.
the money was there.
No, well, the fact that
And
he's
they're
saying-
not taking care of their veterans when they come on. That's ridiculous.
But people
man.
are still complaining from Vietnam.
Like, it's a fucking
So get
joke.
in line.
A joke.
I think we have problems here too, and it's the best way to solve the veteran problem is stop going to war and invading these countries.
Oh, I mean, we definitely have problems too. Like, I don't know if it was in this episode or another one where they were talking about. Yeah, your eyes are really watering.
It's fine. Don't worry about it.
They were talking about Canada's military, and we had that huge problem. Remember the huge thing with the Air Force, our Air Force?
the captain,
Yeah,
the general, maybe.
yeah.
Yeah, of course. I've talked about it on this podcast.
My one of the guys in that thing, like a higher up, was the my brother-in-law,
A base.
somebody somewhere. There's I
You
know.
said too much. You said too
I
much.
know it's too much, but I'm telling you, like that was crazy.
That was crazy.
Yeah.
And that story's crazy about a general that was a rapist. What was he? I can't remember his rank.
No, weren't they doing like hazing and shit? I
Oh,
thought it
no,
was-
then that's something else. Yeah, exactly. These are two credible stories.
Yeah.
My thing, though, is Jon Stewart gives Joe a hard time for being dismissive of masks. And Joe says, no. I was just saying that to get a rise.
No,
true.
No.
I do not feel that was.
Yeah,
I
no.
feel that was disingenuous.
I would like.
Well, I too was like, I was thinking about that. I was like, Joe, you know that your shit goes out and that this guy is retired and he probably, and what's to say Jon Stewart doesn't listen to every episode of
he
Joe
has
Rogan
listened
on
to
his
some because
farm?
you referenced him.
I would be very interested to know from the 6 or 8 people out there who are listening what everybody thinks, whether they agree or disagree that Joe.
And Joe's allowed to decide that's what he was saying after he said it.
Oh yeah, and he
Okay.
can go back on it. It's fine.
Whatever. But I was like,
But I got the impression that he was not needling him.
The
That,
problem,
that was
though,
the
again,
stance
is
he was
Joe.
taking.
Joe then uses that whole comedy thing. Where he's like, I'm just a comedian out here
well, no,
cracking jokes.
But
and-
that
That's fine.
clip enraged
Bill Burr,
the DNC.
Oh, yeah. Well, just another reason why they're angry at him.
I just don't understand someone who could listen to. We should put together a package, 3 episodes to listen to, and come back and say Joe's a horrible person. Then fine, I can't hear what you're hearing, but the contempt for him that has created, and we don't think he said. Sometimes he pushes the envelope, but said anything too inflammatory that he should not be doing what he's doing.
Listen, I got
This is what cancel culture.
Listen,
You know,
there was a
a
few
strong
weeks,
faction that wants to shut him down. I don't see it.
there was a few weeks ago where I was super pissed at him, and I thought,
That's what I was talking about.
yeah, no, do I want him shut down? No, I enjoy the show. I think the discussions are worth having, and just because you don't agree with 100% of what someone says, should they be shut up? No, who gives a fuck? So I don't agree with a lot of what a lot of people have to say.
And that's another positive about Jon Stewart is I don't feel like he's left, but he's not shut down cancel culture.
But that's
He's on the right side of all the issues.
this is where I find that
As
like
right as correct.
I don't find him to be. I just find him just left of center. You think he's like super left? I mean,
In this day and age, it almost is, but he's right. Like, I mean, he was talking about the how the governments decided to blame the mortgage buyers versus the mortgage givers, and both were guilty of what they call moral hazard. But I'm on his side. You know what I mean? Where the other side would be no, the business is more important than the people. And that's
Right,
the problem.
exactly.
And that's where the Republican Party, I think, is duped because they're supposed to be the party of people.
Yeah.
But we know at the end of the day, and that's why I was saying Kyle Kalinske, Pac-Man, all these guys, that nerd that went on and talked about how it's all money and campaign financing and no one's running anything. They've all said it. You know what I mean?
I forgot to mention too about the the military and not helping their veterans. Like the biggest irony about that is the military budget every year, like we know, is in like the trillions of dollars to build their missiles and radars
improved.
and spaceships and whatever the fuck else they build, but they don't have enough money to take care of their veterans. That is insane. Like you can, of course, even a monkey could see the irony, you know?
when you find out that they're spending or that they were spending at a time like $32 billion a month in Afghanistan, you sit there and you go like, maybe just hold off 1 month of spending in Afghanistan and you could take care of like.
Yeah, you say it like that, but it costs $40 billion to just withdraw everyone.
I'm not saying withdraw. I'm just saying like, listen.
It's just feeding people and stuff. I agree with you though.
And Jon Stewart, sorry, yeah.
I agree with them.
Let
I'm
Kamar
glad.
speak.
If they could just freeze it for a second, but I'm just saying the reason they can't is because it would cost more money to do that. Just like powering something up, turning it off.
Go on.
Just like the economy we just shut down. What a problem we're having.
Go on.
That's it.
Nope. Let Kamar speak. Go on. I'm going to let this whole thing dig its own grave.
Well, as far as I'm
He
concerned,
just ends up saying the N-bomb at the end of all
That's
this.
what's going to happen. He's going to
Just
run out of
short
things to
circuits.
say, and we're going to see real
the
Kamar.
pig developed a taste for blood.
Go on.
It's just not possible. The money's been wasted. And the people who were in charge of implementing taking Joe's taxes, taking John's taxes, putting the money at the bottom, building the foundation, all these things, it can't happen because it's so incompetent.
Well, Jon Stewart talked about the 50s in the U.S., and I don't know if you know this, but in the 50s, the U.S. had a corporate tax rate of 91%.
And that's
how they built up the middle class.
as that went down, say the CEO's salary went up.
Well, of course. But the point is when they had that high tax rate, the U.S. was at its strongest. And it was when the most people from the bottom came up to the middle. And it's when everyone had a chance. But now they're like, fuck it.
Well, or if they don't do that, businesses go overseas because the corporation has no feelings about where it works.
Of course.
Just the money can save too. Again, someone asked you why the CEOs get paid 380 times that what the lowest guy gets. Like how much more harder work to compensation.
They're on a golf course most
what
of
do
the
they do
time,
exactly?
like.
They're meetings all day.
Yeah.
They're meetings all day, and they do whatever they want.
Yeah.
And it's just not fair.
Did you find it? I'm sorry, go on.
Just shut up and talk, Simon.
Did you find
Shut up
Did
and
you
talk.
find it interesting when Joe started going on about his diatribe, and Jon Stewart called him out on it and said, and this is kind of how I guess this is to Matt's point, really, like as Joe being kind of disconnected from the everyman, let's say, because John was like, listen, how are people going to be worried about vitamins when they're worried about where their next meal is coming from? You know what I mean? Like that's.
Well, we've always said the IV drips, all these things.
Well, forget the IV drips because he's not preaching everybody go get IV drips.
Yeah,
Joe
he
is
is.
preaching everybody should take vitamins and take care of their immune system. He's not talking about stem cells and shit at that point. He's just
Sure, but let's
it's
assume
probably good advice to go take vitamin D. And to your guys' defense, I argued the wrong side of this before as a Diablo avocado, maybe, or maybe not. But because I said vitamins are very cheap, right? I said you can go out and buy vitamin D tablets for $10 a vial for 500 tablets or whatever it is. But again, if you're worried where your next meal is coming from, like I understand that that $10 is $10 too much.
It's like 10 boxes of Kraft Dinner.
But Jon Stewart,
Well, and think about it though. And Joe is a guy who he gets him and his producer those NAD drips once a week, or probably
that's ridiculous.
That's probably what someone lives off of in a month.
yeah.
You know,
But sorry, what I was gonna say was, what was I gonna say? Well, it doesn't matter. Whatever.
I'm so sorry.
No. It was something. It'll come to me again. What were we even talking about? I'm so fucking high.
I was so high, I was talking about the movie game a half hour ago and
Big
lost
Daddy.
it.
Big
And
Daddy.
now we're coming back to it. It's
Thank
the
you,
movie game,
Kumar.
Big Daddy.
That's why I love you, buddy.
No problem. No, I think we're all clearly overwhelmed by this
I
episode.
remember. Sorry, I have to
Perfect.
do it or I'm gonna lose it.
problem.
Jon Stewart, like I was saying at the beginning of this, Jon Stewart is one of those guys who could call Joe out on that, on the vitamin thing.
On anything.
No, but on anything.
He doesn't need Joe to help him in comedy. He doesn't need Joe. He doesn't even care about the movie, obviously.
This is what I meant. And very few people would do that, would say, Joe, it might be a little insensitive to talk about vitamins when people can't. Not very many people would do that. So it's important that we have these guests on to keep Joe humble enough to be able to take,
I hate to jump to it, but he said, yeah, man, let's hope when this is all over, we go to the comedy store and rib each other. And that's what that is. That's a really polite ribbing. You know what I mean?
Was that a polite ribbing?
Of course you
or
could
was that I listened to your podcast and I hear you saying this a lot and this is the other side of it. And nobody ever says it because they need you. And I'm saying it because this is how I feel. I don't know. I'm just putting it out there.
He's funny enough that he could make Joe look a lot worse.
But that wasn't funny at all. There was no comedy in that little
It's
back
a
and
dig.
forth.
It's like calling someone out. Like, what are you going to do?
I didn't see it as like a ribbing, though. I saw it as like...
is this movie called Big Daddy?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Big
it
Daddy.
is.
I'm sorry, Kumar. We can move on. Let's do your game.
No, keep going. I'm just trying to.
No, we're good. We're good.
For the new listeners and viewers, this is the movie game where Simon and Floyd go head to head. Figure out what year the movie came out, what the budget for the movie was, and what the box office is. Budget within $5 million, box office within $50 million. And the movie's Big Daddy, starring Adam Sandler, Joey Lord Adams, Jon Stewart, Rob Schneider, of course he's in everything, Coley Sprouse, Dylan Sprouse, those are the brothers, and Leslie Mann.
They're brothers. That never even dawned on me. Holy fuck! Like, what year did this come out?
Well, that's the first challenge for you boys.
I'm just gonna throw it out there. I'm taking a big guess.
Was this his wife dies and he becomes a single father, or she just abandons the kid and he becomes
Yeah,
a single father?
the kid is not related to him. I don't remember how he gets the kid.
Jon Stewart was in Toronto for a playoff game and had sex with a girl, and she got pregnant and had a kid, and then something happened to her.
Oh, you're saying Jon Stewart's character? I got so confused.
Yeah,
there for a
Jon
second.
Stewart's
Yeah,
character in the
gotcha.
movie. That's how I'm pretty
Oh,
sure that's
he's
how
the
it played
dad
out.
in it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Jon Stewart is actually the dad, I'm pretty sure.
Year?
I had 2001.
I have 2004.
1999.
Whoa.
Ding, 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 ding.
Okay.
See, I was on the verge. I couldn't decide.
Can I get some
Fuck the book
actors?
as well.
My first thought was 2002, but you know me, I always go against my first thought.
Adam Sandler,
Yep.
Joey Laura Adams.
Okay.
That was a little boy.
That was no. That's the love interest.
No,
100%.
that's the kid.
No, look it up. Bet me money, Kamar, because I'm so positive. $10.
You are correct.
Yeah. She's from Chasing Amy.
Then
Kevin Smith.
Joey
joined.
Lord Adams, Jon Stewart, Rob Schneider, Cole Sprouse, Dylan Sprouse.
Of course, Rob Schneider. Look at any Adam Sandler movie.
I just said on the intro he's in every single movie.
Did you really?
Yes.
Yeah, that was the first thing he
my
said.
God,
You're
I'm
so balls
terrible.
deep
I'm
in your
so
head.
terrible.
What's
Well,
crazy is
listen, I have to read the
You know what I gotta do?
notes,
Just
like-
let it go.
What's
Anyway.
crazy, Kamar, is that he's sitting there just trying to think of the year the movie came out, and he has to totally stonewall you to get 2004. Like, that's all it is.
The way I
You gotta go
figure out
faster.
what movie it is, I have to do some serious math in my head. What year, man?
That's fine. That's fine. Simon, you go first.
I haven't written anything down yet, so just give me a second. Yeah.
What is happening here?
Well, we've been talking and fuck, man.
Okay, it is. There are two separate numbers he's got to come up with, and no one has won this year. I believe coming into the.
I've won
season
this year.
Here.
I'm almost
three?
positive.
A
All
hat
three,
trick?
yeah. Hold on.
That's possible.
Let me go back here.
The point is the competition is fierce. Anything can happen, and this is a lot more interesting than the sports that aren't happening.
Wow.
Compromise on that one. Okay. Oh my God, that's too much.
Oh, Kamar. So Kingpin, I got both.
Okay.
I got both the numbers. I was just 1 year off of
Yes,
the
yes,
thing.
yes,
But
that's
hold on. I still think I got all of them this year somewhere.
Next season, we're going to actually tally this up. Have some stats so we can put it on mybookie.com.
Okay, that's what we're doing.
Who's no longer
Okay,
sponsoring
go
us,
ahead.
It seems like
Are you ready?
No, you're first.
JRE, try the code.
I'm gonna say the movie cost $20 million to make. Oh my God, he shook his head and
No, I
made
didn't.
his eyes go
No,
really
I
thin,
didn't.
and
No,
it made $142 million. Let me see your face. $142 million.
You're way off. I had 35.8 million for the budget and 280.9 million for the box office.
It's 34.2 for the budget. And I think we're really close here. 234.8 at the box office.
Whoa.
Boom! I hit both.
You're at 52.
No,
You're
I said
you're
280.
42 off. You're 42 million.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just as I say, this is very difficult to take down Matt with a clean sweep.
Well, no, I didn't get the year.
Well, no, that's like the.
And for sure,
The
we
Golden
know
Finch,
he
but you won
couldn't
the game.
possibly have cheated on this one because I saw you pick this one like spur
10
of the
seconds ago.
moment.
Yeah.
I don't think you had a movie going anywhere in these episodes. I think you totally left your shit
One
out.
of my worst feelings in high school was when and so the paper on someone's that was due, like that feeling.
Oh,
You
God, that was the
can't
worst.
Produce
Yeah.
it, and you guys just gave me, hey, so and so dropped their paper, hand it in, and away we go. That's the movie game. Way to go, Maddie.
Thanks, buddy.
Go on.
What is he going on
I
about?
did not finish high school.
Does it matter?
He's just
Whoa.
he's just trying to.
I
get
just
me
need
to
him to get to the N word.
set my own trap, cancel myself, get my shit, and get out.
Soon
of
this
here.
is going to be a one-man podcast
Well, I
called Punching Up.
Called Simon. Yeah. Simon talks conspiracies.
I was not sure, and I was apprehensive when I saw Jon Stewart. I was like, "Oh man, are we going to get lectures?" But I can see by talking to you guys for the last half hour that it was just we're having a big Jon Stewart love fest. You know what's interesting is he comes from a generation where it was the Tonight Show or the Letterman Show,
Yeah.
and then maybe Kimmel, but he'd already gotten up to I think the Daily Show by the time Kimmel. Like the only was these 2 or 3 late night shows what every guy wanted to do.
What's crazy is there's really nowhere to go back and like. I mean, I guess they did 5 shows a week for 20 years or however the fuck
30
long.
years, wasn't it?
I don't think it was 30.
It was a long time.
I don't even know if it was 20 years, but either way, it was a very long time. There's really nowhere to go back because, I'll never forget. And if someone can find this, post it on the Reddit. They did a piece on the media ignoring Ron Paul. It's Ron Paul, right? He's the libertarian. It might be one of the funniest pieces I've ever fucking seen in my life. I'll try to find it for you guys.
And informative and poignant.
Well, exactly. Yeah, no, it did its job in showing you like this is really something that's happening, but it made you laugh and how obvious and blatant and in your face it was, but that maybe you had never seen it or never noticed or never chose to, whatever. Why are you staring at him like that?
I'm not.
Okay, what did you write there? Looks like you're drawing Hangman or something. Is
No.
that Kamar hanging himself? That's what Simon's drawing.
He disagreed with me twice in this episode, and he's just fucking dead to me.
Yeah.
He was hilarious as a stand-up comedian, and then he did all the MTV. Like, it's crazy to watch him go from, because he was young, sort of fuck everyone, like when I was a kid, but very funny, to this amazing wise. Like, don't you want him to be president? I know he doesn't want to. They're talking about The Rock, but like the sanity and thought, everything he said, so relaxing. I can't help myself.
And he's a
Want to hate him.
great orator.
And then he told me he was a vegetarian. I was like, get the fuck out of here. No. And then I was just, Joe definitely meant fuck people with masks.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
We'll get back to the masks, I'm sure.
Kamar, hold on just real quick. Kamar, do you feel like, well, no,
It's fine.
I just had a question for Kamar really quickly, just to try to get him to drop the N-bomb. No, do you think if the Daily Show was still on and you were seeing Jon Stewart 4 nights a week, we would be having the love fest, or it would be as
That's my joint you just put in your mouth.
Oh my god!
Oh my God.
Oh my god!
I thought he was going to pass it to me.
Holy fuck! I need to drink fucking rubbing alcohol
Yes.
now. Holy
yes.
fuck!
I can't believe
no, just
that.
go outside. It'll kill the UV rays. Will
What
kill
do I do?
No, these lights are UV rays, man. No way.
Simon. It's too late, so making a big fracas.
Okay, tell me this. Do I not tell you? And just die?
Tell me. Just let me die.
Just let you smoke my joint? And
Let
then
me
afterwards,
die. Oh,
like,
no.
yeah, you sucked on my joint for the whole
Oh
time.
no! What am I gonna do?
Roll your own.
What am I gonna do?
Kamar, in retrospect, maybe next time let him smoke it down to the fucking roach and then tell him.
I think he'd be angry. And that was a great moment. That's a clip.
Yeah.
We make that a clip. What were we talking about right before that happened?
Listen, we're already playing with fire. Fuck.
I was asking
We've
you, if
already
Jon,
rolled
if
the
Jon
dice with the
Stewart, if Jon
universe.
Stewart was on 4 nights a week, especially you, this is actually a good question for you, because if Jon Stewart was still on TV right now,
He might be able to show me.
he might be going heavy on the anti-Trump.
And maybe make me see the light.
Maybe, but what I was saying to you is, maybe.
Jon Stewart's pretty good.
Oh, he was incredible. His time on the Daily Show was.
And still, the work he's still doing.
Yeah, of course. But now he's just doing it quietly, and I'd love to go see him and Chappelle. That would be a fucking powerhouse of a.
Yes.
That'd be a great show to go to.
Yes, it would be.
Either way, sorry, you guys
I
keep going
think
on.
if he was still doing the show, he'd have killed himself.
By now, oh my
Just
god, with all
just
this
the way he
going, yeah.
described it, it was killing him.
Do you know what he could have done though? What he probably should have done was something like John Oliver. Like I think John Oliver nailed it, where it's like I do this once a week. So instead of going on every night and interviewing someone every night, it's like we have 1 week to put together a solid
that's
show.
The Bill Maher.
Yeah, but I mean, again, I like the way that, because John Oliver, if you look at his show, they really just took the Daily Show and took out the guest. So there's no interviewing the guest, and they just made one thing longer form. And I mean, I don't know.
It was pretty much John Oliver's part on the Daily Show expanded into.
Well, because I never, to be honest, the Daily Show, I didn't love once the guest showed up. I was really there for the first 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And then after that, I mean, depending on who the guest
Depending
was.
on who the guest was.
I liked it that most of the time I didn't know who the fuck the guest was. It felt like Rogan in that way, that you met new people. You know what I mean?
Dude, I'll never forget. Bruce Willis came on the Daily Show once, and he had done like Letterman or Leno the night before, and he wore like a full 3-piece suit on Leno or Letterman. I can't remember. And then he shows up on the Daily Show in like sweats, and he sits down, and Jon Stewart looks him dead in the eye, and he goes, "You wear a 3-piece suit to Letterman, and you show up here looking like a fucking bum." Dude, I will never fucking forget
That's
it.
hilarious,
I was like,
yeah.
good for you, dude. That's fucking great.
So let me breeze through the first part of this because I realize we've gotten pretty bogged down in this now.
Sure.
And then jump all over the second part, okay? This is the first part. Sometimes I feel like David Goggins and that type of person who, granted, helps a lot of people, okay? That maybe he hurts just as many people as he helps. Just hear me out. Lots of people who can't do it and just feel horrible about themselves. And it may be a situation where, like Joe said, this is motivating them to try, but they're just unable to do so for all the reasons that John is about to talk about, which we'll talk about. But just, you know what I mean? I don't know. Sometimes I do feel like maybe a Goggins guy, it's so much and so unreachable to most people that I don't know.
I think, though, that's why you watch sports or anything, like just to see what's possible from human beings.
Sorry, Chico. I think we spoke about this a couple weeks ago, though, Simon. It's not so much that you have to go out and be Goggins. It's the idea of just simply bettering yourself in some way, shape, or form. So maybe Goggins is the extreme, or Jocko's the extreme, where you wake up every day at 4 a.m. and you fucking go out there and get it. Maybe it's just a simple matter of you say to yourself, okay, well, I'm not going to wake up at 4 a.m., but right now I'm waking up at 9 a.m., and maybe I wake up at 8 or 7, or I don't have to be Jocko about it, but maybe I just try to look at what Jocko's doing and say, okay, you know what, I can at least wake up tomorrow a slightly better me. And if I continue down that path, maybe I'll be waking up at 6 a.m. and I'll be feeling,
or you could be the type of person who looks at it and is like, I can't do what he does. And he's saying that if I can't, I'm a piece of shit, then maybe I'm a piece of shit.
You are
know
a piece
what
of
I mean?
shit, though, because you can. Anyone can do anything. There's too many examples of people just overcoming. Whether it be paraplegics, guys in wheelchairs blowing up your comment section, whatever, anything can be achieved.
This is exactly the point that Jon Stewart was about to make, and which he did to Rogan. And again, a situation where nobody else would do this. You know what I mean?
Comfortable.
Where he's like, you're always saying people have to be fit. Why can't they be fat? Yeah. And I think Joe did a really good job of explaining to him why, but at the same time, I totally understood his point. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes there are extenuating circumstances in anything. There's always shit you don't know about. So if you're going to make blanket statements like everybody has to be thin or they're fucking sickly, you know what I mean?
You're
like,
gonna catch some feelings
I'm
along
not
the way.
sure, but I'm not sure if that's necessarily true either.
do you remember what Dean Del Rey said to Bill Burr about Lemmy?
No, tell me.
So, because Dean Del Rey was an addict, Dean Del Rey said if I knew Lemmy was going to live into his 70s, I would have done more, or I would have kept doing. The point is like, it's easy to look at Joe and be like, oh, well, maybe I should. Sometimes it's just about having that, just fucking do it, whatever. Just have the extra drink. Like, what do you really...
Well, and that was Joe's point too. We're all like, what did he say? It was so funny. Oh, he said, and that's how the story ends. We're all dead. Like, and that's the truth, right? Like, in the end, everybody's story so different. All of our bodies so different. You could do something until I could do heroin until the day I die and live to be 90, and you could walk out tomorrow and have a safe drop on your head. Point is, we're all human, and the story all ends the same. We die.
There is no point.
But there
that's
is a point.
That's what Joe said.
That's
He said,
what Joe said.
but there is no point. There's like, well, if you do this, this, and this, when you're dead,
So to Kamar,
nothing matters.
To Matt's point, have that second drink. Maybe I don't know. Like, nobody knows. Joe doesn't know. You know what I mean? Joe only knows what he knows.
That's why we have to pay in our wills to make sure this is always up. Because this is our legacy. This lives on long after we.
I have a son and a daughter.
Do you know what Robert Zemeckis did?
I tell you about it. I was looking at Matt the whole time.
Do you know what Robert Zemeckis did? The guy that created Back to the Future?
Yes.
So he owns all the rights to the entire film. It's in its entirety.
Front end, back end.
And he specifically said, as long as I'm alive, there is no remake of this film to be made. So you know what I mean? Like, that's kind of the same, like the legacy. Like, listen, I'm going to die someday. Then you can do what the fuck you want with this. But until then.
Well, or like we said, when you die, like, and they ask you for an organ donor card, do you care? I don't care what you do with my organs. Like,
oh, I've signed the organ donor card.
I don't see why anyone would care about their organs.
I mean, listen, there's no way you want my heart, liver, or lungs. That's just the God's honest truth. You might get a good gallbladder or a kidney out of me, maybe, but
I'm a big set of cojones.
no. You have a fucking cysty set of cojones.
Go on, come on.
He's looking at you drawing another stick man of him getting hung.
And then they had a very reasonable discussion about veganism, or I guess vegetarianism versus meat eating, which he totally started, which I thought was, I guess, good on him. Maybe he wanted to argue it. I don't know.
He asked a couple questions over the course.
Well, it's because he lives on a farm. And again, this is clear. That was clear to me right away that John definitely pays attention to Joe's podcast. Because he obviously watched the entire Game Changers debate.
He referenced
yeah.
episodes.
No, totally. You're right. And this is where John got really human, because you really saw, like, I don't know if his arguments were sound here. Joe was right about absolutely everything he was saying. And John's argument, which was fair, was, I have a farm and I gave all these animals names. And now when I look at another animal, I know that thing has a mom and a dad. All totally fair. Yeah. But like, Joe didn't even bring up with this guy the idea of this guy, with Mr. Jon Stewart, the idea of how many animals die for your soy fields and all the things, your vegetable fields, period. Like,
Sure.
Just watch The Secret of Nim. I implore anybody. And
Just watch The Secret
Watch
of
poor
Nim.
Mrs. Brisby and her children having to move the stone. Like, that's how it works.
By this point, Jon Stewart's been hitting it out of the park.
Yeah.
It's just
it's
now
just
Joe's
showed
pleasure
yeah.
to have him on the show.
Yeah, it was a really cool episode, I thought, in power dynamic, first of all, and then just great conversation.
And maybe had it gone longer, John could have fucked it up for me.
It gives me hope that if Jon Stewart has a future project post-COVID, that he will be in studio for a longer. I would really enjoy a 3-hour sit down, 2-hour sit down with.
Well, apparently a movie's dog shit.
Well, that's fine.
That's why I didn't plug it.
Yeah, don't even bother.
No, but that was the icing on the cake of because I was going, okay, when's it coming? When's it coming? And it never came. It just turned into a wonderful discussion.
Well, the weirdest thing for me, Kumar, I never even dawned on me. I just thought, oh, Jon Stewart. I was so awestruck with, like, sweet, this was someone that was on my list of, like, people I wanted to see on, that literally was in the last minute and a half where I was like, oh my God, he's here for a reason.
Of course.
And then I thought about it. I was like, everyone's there for a reason. No one other than his good friends just goes on. And even then, they don't go on anymore for shits and giggles.
I thought he was just going on.
But as we've always said, don't plug. Don't do the plug. It's so much better experience, especially if they're like, okay, how's it going, man? Yeah, I just wanted, before we get into it, make sure I mention
Act like you've been there.
Act like you've been there
before.
And even worse, don't have a sultry voice and be like, just buy the book. I'm not here to talk about what I'm here to talk about. Just buy the book. Are we done?
I think Ari's actually the best at it, Kamar, because he's just so over the top about pushing his shit when he's on Rogan that any opportunity, when Joe even takes like a breath too long, Ari's
Is
like,
that because I'm
"And
playing Denver May 24th?
Yeah, I love it.
He's got to do it that way.
Yeah. That's how he's got to do it.
I don't know if you guys, there's a podcast by Kevin Brennan.
Neil's brother, yeah.
Yeah, and he has this guy, Chad Zumock, who was a New York comic, but pissed a bunch of people off, went hard after Patton Oswalt for killing his wife and whatever. And now he's in Florida, call himself a Florida man or the Tallahassee kid or whatever. And he was just Like, he'd been doing comedy for 20 years or whatever, never made anything. Just fuck these people, fuck them. And after everything he said, you know how Rome would go around and say, rack it.
Yeah.
He started going, rack me. Over and over again, maybe 30 times, and every time he did it, Kevin Brennan laughed, and it was just so funny. People being overconfident because he was on it, and fuck them, rack me, and another thing, rack it. It was so good. A guy shouting himself out, and it wasn't even funny. Anyways, that has nothing to do with anything. This was an amazing podcast, a pleasure to listen to.
Yeah, I give it a 4.
Besides the technical. Besides it being the remote.
The length, too, remote. That's why it's getting a 4 for me. Too short and remote.
It's getting a 4.5 from me.
Oh, wow.
Gets a 4 from me. Length and whatever. Yeah. That's gross. All right. Yeah, that's a wrap.
So that's it then, right?
But yeah, I love the Stewart. Love you
Awesome.
guys. Thank you for listening.
That is it. Thank you so much for listening. We hope you enjoyed. We have an email if you want to contact us. Someone will eventually. I actually went back this week. I don't know if you
Good
saw.
for you. I did,
Well, I was cleaning up the email and I was like, "What? Did none of us respond to these? I guess we have a tough time. 3 of us.
I was never involved.
Well, the one guy I saw his labor dispute, and I didn't want to get involved to be I just stayed away.
I'll respond to people on Instagram. If you're
fuck,
looking
whatever.
for me, find me there.
Fine. Either way, we have an email. It's jreepodcast@gmail.com. You can contact us, tell us we're shit there.
They do get read.
Yeah, they don't get responded to. They get read, though. Trust me. I see them. I see them.
Cry about them at night.
Yeah, it just takes us 4 months to respond, so we're on it. We have a Twitter and an Instagram. They're both JREE Podcast. You can follow Kamar on Instagram.
At Kamara Bar, Instagram and Twitter.
You can follow Simon on Instagram.
At Bigfoot whoa, that was weird. At Bigfoot Sighting Society.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. There's a Reddit. It's reddit.com/JREE Podcast. You can join in the conversation. Kamar's on there. I'm not. Simon's not.
Just Kamar. That's your place to go talk
And
shit
above
about
all
me and
else,
Maddie.
subscribe to the YouTube.
Yes,
You
YouTube.
have no choice.
Yeah, if you haven't, we have a YouTube.
You have no choice.
You have no choice. Or stop listening.
Well, okay, easy.
Wow,
No,
that
maybe-
is a call to arms,
I didn't say
people.
you had to. I didn't say you had to watch. I just said you had to subscribe.
Yeah,
And
keep
if
in
you're
mind.
listening right now, please, I do it for you.
Like if you have a Gmail account, you just go to YouTube and hit subscribe. It's that
I
easy.
do it for you.
I would do it for you too.
Am I overstepping my bounds here?
No, you're not overstepping your bounds here.
Am I asking for too much?
Go on.
That's it.
Finally.
And we have a Patreon. If you want to support the show, which, by the way, we've gotten so much support recently. Thank you guys
Look at
so
these
much.
lights. Look
Thank
at this
you all so
camera.
much.
Hear that air conditioner that's not on right now. This is all because of you.
Yeah, you guys have made us comfortable in our podcasting. Thank you so much. We were going to
thank
kick
you.
that fucking field goal today, too, I promise. Simon.
It was happening. We're going to figure out some other competition to have in lieu of.
No, we're kicking this field goal, dickhead. I bought the fuck. I
As
bought all the shit.
Simon recovers,
That's
we'll
enough.
do something else.
Patreon.com/JREE Podcast. You can support us for as little as $1 a month. And you'll get the post show early. So you get the post show on Tuesday with the episode. And every Monday, well, the first 3 or 4 Mondays of the month, you'll get an episode of This Won't Age Well. The series where we go back, we listen to old episodes of JRE, and we do what we do here on the normal show. Thank you so much for listening. If you're watching, thank you even so much more. If you did both, watched and listened, and you're on the Patreon, well, you're just a fucking, aren't you just a platinum human being? You like that one, Simon? Yeah.
I like that.
Good on you.
You're the best.
Thank you so much. Have a great weekend. We hope you're safe out there. And as usual,
Keep your eyes open.